faces Mikhail Castillo.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, and gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave.
What a way to get tonight's Sonoma NASCAR Xfinity Series race underway. It's the first ever time that the NASCAR Xfinity Series has been out west on a road course in California, and it is going to be an interesting one. There are a lot of Cup Series regulars in the field today versus, of course, the Xfinity Series regulars that are going for the Xfinity title here in 2023. We have a lot of former winners in the field today, both from the Cup and the Xfinity Series field, and it's going to be really a clash of the Titans over these 250 miles. Appreciate everybody that is tuning in here on this late Saturday night for today's NASCAR live commentary coverage on the channel. Our first of two this weekend, both the NASCAR Xfinity Series and Cup Series races on the road courses at Sonoma, as the Truck Series has off this weekend. Next weekend, NASCAR is off in general. It is the only off week of the NASCAR Cup Series season. The Xfinity and the Truck Series will also be off, but as far as tonight, we are on. Appreciate everybody tuning in here on this Saturday night. We'll go through the starting lineup as you just heard the national anthem to kickstart today's stream. Kyle Larson is on the pole. The last time he was in an Xfinity Series race, he got the job done, got the win in Darlington. We'll see if he can win and go for two to start his Xfinity season in the 17 car this year. Justin Allgaier will be on the outside of the front row. He won at Charlotte just a few weeks ago. Sheldon Creed, after his first career pole last weekend in Portland, is going to try to go for another top 5 finish today. He'll be on the inside of row 2, and Eric Almirola making his first Xfinity start of 2023 to his outside. In row number 3 will be AJ Allmendinger and Sam Mayer. Allmendinger, a winner at COTA on a road course in the Xfinity Series this season, and Sam Mayer also had a top 5 in Portland a week ago. Ty Gibbs and Daniel Hemrick will be in row 4. This will be Gibbs' 4th Xfinity start of the season, still winless through his first 3. John Hunter Nemechek and Sammy Smith, the JGR teammates, will be in row number 5, as John Hunter Nemechek coming off an incredible rally after a spin to get a top 10 last weekend. Alex Lemay and Parker Kligerman will be in row 6. Kligerman had a pretty strong run, had a shot to win on an overtime restart last week, ended up not getting a great finish out of it after contact, trying to go 3 wide for the lead late. We'll see if he can get the checkered flag today. Austin Hill and Brett Moffitt will be in row 7. A little bit of a slow get going for Austin Hill over recent weeks after a strong start to the year with those 3 wins in the first 5 races. Looking for a great rebound performance today. Ross Chastain will be in the 91 car again this weekend, making his 6th Xfinity start of the season, and Parker Retzlaff to his outside for Jordan Anderson Racing. Daniel Suarez in his first Xfinity start from the Cup Series this season will be driving the 07 car with Kyle Weatherman starting to his outside. Suarez won the Cup Series race at Sonoma last year. Josh Berry and Chandler Smith will be in row number 10 for this one. Berry still searching for his first win of 2023, and Smith with a win at Las Vegas very early in, or sorry, not Las Vegas, at Richmond very early in the season. Sage Karam and Josh Williams will be in row number 11. Row number 12 will be Riley Herbst and Jeremy Clements. Josh Bilicki and Cole Custer will be back in row number 18. Custer won at Portland last weekend. Kaz Gralla and Brandon Jones will be in row 14. Row 15 will be Connor Mosak and Jeb Burton. Burton involved in a fight at the end of the Portland race. Hopefully he is looking to keep all fenders on the race car here today and stay out of trouble. Brad Perez and Ty Dillon will be in row 16. Dillon, another one of those Cup regulars in the field today. Dylan Lupton and Ryan Sieg will be in row 17. Jeffrey Earnhardt and Blaine Perkins in row 18. And rounding out the 38-car field in row 19 will be Anthony Alfredo and Joe Graf Jr. In the booth today for the race on FS1 will be Austin Singer, Kevin Harvick, and Adam Alexander. For more pre-race info, here is the coverage.
To be able to adapt to your car. As it runs, it will fall off. It will lose forward drive. But as you run, you have to change the way that you drive your car. You have to climb up on some curbs. You have to put your car on sticky paint off of turn 4. So there's lots of places to affect the handling of your car, but these guys are going to struggle for forward drive as they make a long run.
And what makes this place really unique is the elevation change. Every corner has a unique elevation change, but also half the corners on the racetrack are completely blind on the exits. So not being able to see where you're going like that off of turn 3, trying to figure out where the apex is, where the exit of the corner is, and timing that all with all the things that Kevin talked about, car placement being so important.
You look at the lineup in today's race, and it is unbelievable. There are 8 Cup drivers doing double duty this weekend, led by Kyle Larson, who dominated practice, qualifying earlier today. He starts on the pole. When you look at this group, man, it's elite, Austin.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be overreacting if I'm in the rest of the field, but Kyle Larson has had everybody's number the entire weekend. I think AJ, you can't count him out, but yeah, that 17 car has been extremely fast.
I think when you look at the regulars, I think you have to lean towards Justin Allgaier a little bit just because of the fact he has some experience. He ran so well last week, didn't get the win, but came really close. Qualified well on the front row, and as we know, having a good pit stall and strategy is going to come into play because today we're not stopping for stages.
Yeah, and think about this for Allgaier. His last 3 starts, second, first at Charlotte, and second, as you said, last week in Portland, 3 wins on the road for driver number 7. Let's go trackside now and get the command of Fire Engines at Sonoma.
Now, race fans, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome forward for the Golden State Warriors, Patrick Baldwin Jr.
Drivers, start your engines.
The engines have fired.
And that is correct. The engines are fired. 250 miles, 79 laps will be the scheduled distance. And as you heard, no stage break cautions this weekend, with it being a Cup race weekend on a road course. Same goes for this Xfinity race tonight. So fuel mileage could be somewhat of a strategy play. And with this being the first ever race at this racetrack, it's tough telling exactly how far these cars are going to be able to go on a full tank of fuel. So the strategy game is definitely going to be up in the air for many teams tonight. Frank Powers, Chris Davis, Philip Moore, Joanne Sire, Sports 6420, Billy Kramer, Mike George, Matt Hunter, Terry Lewis, Robert Goodrich, Patrick Shadley, and others. Welcome into the stream. You can vote for who you think will win tonight's race in the chat. There is a poll up. Your vote is between Kyle Larson, AJ Allmendinger, Sheldon Creed, or other. Pick the pole sitter Larson, Allmendinger, who won on a road course this year again at COTA, and then of course Sheldon Creed. Now Allmendinger did not run in Portland last week with the Cup Series at Gateway in St. Louis, so this is his second Xfinity start of the year, so he's looking to go 2 for 2, as well as Kyle Larson, so both undefeated, and I believe they're the only Cup regulars to win in an Xfinity Series race so far this season. Some of the highlight performances coming into the race today would be those 3 drivers who mentioned that Allmendinger had a win at COTA. Not only Larson won his last race, but he was fastest in practice and qualified on the pole, 0.7 of a second quicker in his second session lap time in qualifying to get himself on the pole faster than Justin Allgaier. He is clearly the fastest car this weekend. He is the odds-on favorite to win for Vegas. FanDuel has him at minus 140 and I believe minus 160 or 170 on BetMGM. So it is a clear favorite, Kyle Larson. You usually don't see NASCAR races with the favorite in the minus, even really in the plus. I think the first race Larson was in this year at Darlington, he was like a plus 260, I think I got him for. So, I mean, even though it is Kyle Larson, a recent Cup champ, wins a lot of races, obviously, and dropping down into the Xfinity Series, even though he is typically a favorite, usually not this heavy of a favorite. It's going to be tough to beat him. I think with no stage cautions as well, it's going to be tough for that 17 team to lose track position. May not see that many cautions today, but you never know. We'll have to see how this plays out. Very short race, again, only 79 laps on a roughly just shorter than 2-mile road course. They had 75 laps at Portland last week on a similar road course length. The lap times were around the same length as what we will see in today's race at Sonoma as well. 19 votes already in the poll for who you think will win today's race. Larson has 37% of the votes, 32% for AJ, and other at 26%. So it's a very tight poll. Make that 30% now for other and AJ, and then 35% for Larson. Only 5% for Sheldon Creed up to this point. Pre-race, we will close that at the end of stage 2 like normal. Ethan Chua, Wade Selinsky, also welcome into the stream. So, yeah, this is going to be pretty fun to watch how this race unfolds here today. I'm excited to see what these Xfinity cars can do. I thought last week's race in Portland was pretty good. There was a lot of late drama, obviously some tempers throughout the race with Creed and Nemechek trading paint multiple different times. Of course, the fight at the end of the race between Jeb Burton and Chandler Smith. And, of course, Cole Custer getting his first win of the Xfinity Series season, locking himself into the playoffs. And we'll see if maybe somebody else can lock themselves into the playoffs. Now, Sheldon Creed is another driver I want to highlight. I think he, of the Xfinity Series regulars, is going to be the favorite to win the race today. He ran very good at Portland last week, qualified on the pole. He dominated the race for the most part when he had the track position. He was very tough to pass, but a late race restart when Kligerman tried to go 3 wide to the inside, snuck underneath of Allgaier and Creed, knocked them both out of the way, took Creed out of a shot to win the race, but both Justin Allgaier and Sheldon Creed qualifying in the top 3 is going to be very interesting to watch them try to race Larson in the early going. 71 degrees is the temperature at Sonoma here this afternoon. 8-mile-per-hour winds out of the southwest, and relatively cloudy conditions here today, but not used to racing this late in the evening time at this racetrack, so we'll see how this is going to fare.
Today,
Let's see
Kevin.
what it is. Hey, Cole, this is
Gonna
Kevin
dial up
Harvick
Cole
up in the
Custer,
Fox
it sounds
booth.
like.
Great week last week in Portland. Congratulations on your win. Didn't qualify that well today. Tell us what your plan is and what you think the racetrack is going to do as we run through the day.
Man, I mean, you guys know, this isn't not an easy place to get around, especially when you're back in traffic. So you gotta stay really disciplined. It's gonna be hot and slick. It's gonna have a lot of tire fall off. So you have to stay patient with it. I think we have a good car. The driver just didn't quite adapt quick enough to the changes we made overnight. But I think we have a good car. We can take to the front.
Tim 4, man. Also, remember, those guys are on a pit box. We need some good strategy today, boys. So good luck, Cole.
That's right. I'm putting a lot on Zippy today.
Yeah, Greg Zipadelli, the fill-in crew chief. Well wishes to Jonathan Toney, the regular crew chief, who's back home in North Carolina sick. And there you look at A.J. Allmendinger. We talk about him every time we race on a road course in NASCAR's Xfinity Series. He qualified 5th today, won earlier this season at Circuit of the Americas. 11 wins all time. That's the best. He's done it at 6 different tracks, trying to make it 7 today. And 6 wins in his last 8 starts. That's impressive. Let's hear from him, Austin.
Hey, AJ Allmendinger, it's Austin Cindric, Kevin Harvick, and Adam Alexander here in the booth. I know I'm talking to the GOAT of road course racing in the Xfinity Series. What have you got to do today to beat Kyle Larson? Everyone's talking about him. That's all we talked about. How does that fire you up?
Pray a lot, I think, is how we start that. But, yeah, he's definitely got a lot of speed in his race car. We're trying to make this Gabriel Glass Chevy a little bit better as we go. But you know how it is, man. Long runs is a lot different than just outright short run speed. So we'll see what we have and just try to keep making adjustments on it all day. Maybe just try to put some pressure on him.
Sounds great, man. Best of luck. Put on a show for us.
Yes.
Austin, I'm glad you're in the booth with us today. But I wouldn't mind you being out there on track because you and AJ head-to-head had quite a rivalry. Look at these numbers. It's a dead heat. But you said how good he is road course racing. You actually have the 5-4 advantage when you two were on track
I
together.
like how you guys put the stats to where it looks like I was better than AJ. So I know he'll really hate that when he rewatches this race, but I'm just glad that each one of the races that I've raced on, won, all my Xfinity races, I had to beat AJ, and that made me so much of a better driver having to beat a guy of that caliber.
When you're in a booth, you can trash talk if you want.
I plan on it
We
the
encourage
entire
it.
day, especially with the driver of this 10 car.
Hey, the biggest trash talker on our team, Regan Smith. He and Josh Sims on pit road. Let's hear from him now. We start with Regan. What are you selling today, Regan?
Well, good afternoon, Adam. It was an eventful week 1 week ago for John Hunter Nemechek at Portland. Run-ins, of course, as we saw with Sheldon Creed, as well as his teammate Sammy Smith. I asked him about that. He said, I talked to Sheldon right after the race, and then he talked to Sammy this week as things went along. Things are better between the two of them. He is still frustrated about how the end of that race played out, though. As for today, they dialed that race car out in practice yesterday. He said, we're going back on everything we did. We learned exactly what not to do, and he mentioned the fact of all the Cup drivers in the field. He said this race has a big race field because of it, and I'd really love to get this one today. Josh Sims.
Well, Regan, Sheldon Creed and the two team has been so close to getting that first career Xfinity Series win, especially on road courses. You look at the numbers, the last 3 road course races, he's led a combined 81 laps, 47 of those last week at Portland. But you also look at it, he's been spun from the lead the last 2 road course races, and he admits it's been frustrating for him, but it's not shaking his confidence. He's got a car he likes heading into this race. He's been on this track before here at Sonoma. The big question, does the 2 or anybody else have something for that 17 of Kyle Larson, guys?
And Sheldon's son Axel celebrating his first birthday tomorrow. He'd love to take that trophy home as birthday present number 1. Now let's go up on the spotter stand here from our spotter analyst, Coleman Presley, back with us today. Hello, Coleman.
Hey Adam, really excited to be here today. High atop turn 2. Here we use 2 spotters at Sonoma Raceway. The busiest spot we'll have here early in the race is over in turn 7. You're going to have a lot of dive bombs set up there, and it's going to really have to use your spotter to see it coming. Other than that, we're going to be guiding them down the S's into turn 10. Give the driver one last heads up of what's coming before we hand it off to our secondary spotter in 11. We're here after grabbing, and it's another heavy braking zone. It's a very busy transition for both spotters, and it's going to be fun to see it take place.
There's the race analysis. 20 lap stage.
20 laps at stage 1, stage 2, 25 laps today, and 34 laps in the final stage. The pace car is pulling out of the way on the front stretch, and now the leaders will take the green flag. Larson will have the inside lane going into turn 1. The green flag is in the air in the Xfinity Series. DoorDash 250 at Sonoma is underway. Larson with the jump, easily clear by about 2 car lengths as they work uphill through the carousel into turns 2 and 3. Larson trying to get out to that early jump, early lead. Justin Allgaier is going to be into second. A big log jam on the inside of turn 3 right now, as there might have been some cars that were bottlenecking on the bottom lane making contact. Allmendinger single file now into the second place position, and it does look like Creed ended up losing a couple spots, falls to 4th. And I believe that is Eric Almirola in the 28 car who has moved himself up into P3 on this opening lap. Still out of the field 2x2 as they try to get sorted now through the chute into the hairpin, top of the hill. Allmendinger trying to work his way past Sam Mayer. He's able to do so in turn 7. Great setup move in that same corner for Eric Almirola to get to second place, getting by Xfinity Series regular Justin Allgaier. Got to his inside in the hairpin in turn 7, but then through the S's, he was able to actually complete the pass. Allgaier might have let him go. That's a tough area of the racetrack to run side by side, and Kyle Larson already is out to nearly a 1-second lead on the opening lap as the battle for second continues down into turn number 11. Daniel Hemrick stuck on the outside as he has now gotten past as well. Ty Gibbs has got to get around him in the 19 car onto the main straightaway and clear by the time they get to the start-finish line. Larson's got at least 7 to 8 car lengths, if not more, between himself and Almirola. A 1.5-second lead after the first completed lap of the day. That was led by pole sitter Kyle Larson. So in this race, it's going to be interesting to see who will beat the 17. He was my pick to win today's race. Again, he was Vegas's pick to win the race as well. Minus 160 some sport books, 170, and then I got him for 140 on FanDuel. Luckily, I had like a booster bet, so it ended up being like plus 108 for me. But I'm glad I used it on him because he is going to be very tough to beat here today, especially with no stage break cautions. A lot of contact in the hairpin between Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer. Remember, Gibbs in the Xfinity Series last year ruffled some feathers with the JRM Chevrolets throughout the course of the year, and I'm sure Mayer hasn't forgotten now that he sits in line behind the 19, but Gibbs is going to be quickly gone. Gibbs did win a couple of the Xfinity races on road courses last season. Of course, his first career win and his first career start in the Xfinity Series was a win at the Daytona road course as well. So if there is somebody that could maybe beat Kyle Larson today of the Cup regular field, I think Gibbs could be the driver. He beat him heads up one-on-one last year when Gibbs was a full-time Xfinity Series competitor. Larson ran at Road America, and it was Gibbs who actually passed him on a late race restart with just a couple laps to go to get the W that day. SHR Fords of Cole Custer, Riley Herbst battling side-by-side for position right now. Custer going to get that spot. Had a win in Portland last week, but starts 26th in the field today. Has only moved up one spot from the start of the race, it looks like. Make that 2 now as he has cleared Herbst for 24th on the racetrack. Long way to go through the field, but a long way to go still in the races. We're only 2 laps complete of 79. Again, 20 laps in this first stage. Your top 5 as they run right now in the early going of this one. Kyle Larson has a 1.5 second lead as of the start-finish line that last time by. Eric Almirola is in second place. Justin Allgaier is 2.1 seconds back in third. Sheldon Creed in fourth is 2.4 seconds back. And A.J. Allmendinger in fifth place, 3 seconds off the race lead. He is hounding Sheldon Creed, though, for that fourth place position as they work their way off the S's through turn 10, slipping and sliding. It's crazy how much the rear of the race car is really sliding around on that flat right-handed corner in turn 10. A dive bomb now by Allmendinger underneath the 2. No contact, but Creed's going to hold him tightly, trying to make sure Allmendinger cannot get a good throttle down off the exit, but it doesn't matter because Allmendinger is able to wheel his way past the Wheelin' number 2 Chevrolet. And quickly is on the attack of Justin Allgaier after passing Creed just a couple of corners ago. Lap number 4, Kyle Larson stretched the lead out now to 2.1 seconds. So once Almirola got the second place off the start, it seems about 0.2 a second quicker lap is Larson than the 28 car. But A.J. Allmendinger trying to work his way through the field after not qualifying quite as well as he probably would have liked. And obviously losing ground to the 17 in the early going of this one, he's going to have to use his tires up quite a bit to make passes in the top portion of the field to try to get some of that time back. Sam Mayer protecting the bottom all over the back of the 11 car of Daniel Hemrick through 7 and 8. Big bounce off the curb by Allmendinger as he is still trying to work his way past the 7 of Allgaier. Alex LeBay, road course ringer, working himself up to 12th. Had a top 10 at Portland last week and now is looking for maybe back-to-back top 10s here today. And he hung around pretty much 8 to 12 most of that race. It was a solid run for him. He's got a lot of Cup regulars to try to beat today to get the top 10, but already off to a solid start. Allmendinger down into turn number 11 will make the pass in the hairpin on Justin Allgaier. Sheldon Creed quickly to the inside as he tries to follow the 10 to get a free position. And they'll be side-by-side through turn 1. Allgaier almost into the wall. It's a tight area of the racetrack to do that. And Creed's going to have to give that time back up in turn 1 so they can make the next couple set of corners. And he's going to have to try to find a way to get back around the 7 again. After that failed attempt to make the pass, Ty Gibbs is now on the attack, and we've got a 3-car battle for that 4th place position. That last lap, Larson about 0.3 quicker than Almirola. So a blazing fast start here in this one for Kyle Larson. As we probably expected, the big thing right now is not make any mistakes on pit road, whether it be during green or caution flag pit stops. If he does have to restart further back for any particular reason on the restarts today, virtue of pit strategy, you got to make sure you don't get caught up into trouble there also. That could probably be the biggest points of this race, where that 17 team can shoot themselves in the foot, because it's pretty much his race to lose. And that was before the race probably even started, but now that we're a couple laps in, we can really see the speed that we had seen in yesterday and today's on-track activity for the Xfinity Series. Because it was the first Xfinity race at Sonoma, they actually had a full practice session, 50 minutes yesterday, and then qualifying was earlier this afternoon before the Cup Series took track for practice and qualifying just a couple of hours ago before the start of this Xfinity race tonight. Of course, the ARCA West race was last night as well, after the Xfinity Series practice. So a lot of racing going on at Sonoma this weekend for anybody who is out there. 3-second lead now opened up for the 17 car of Larson. 5 laps into this one. AJ Allmendinger quickly catching Almirola for second as they work their way off of turn 6 through the chute. Allmendinger made a pass in turn 7. He's just so much better at trying to brake way later as he works his way into these sharper turns. Turn 7 and turn 11 are those 2 corners where he's really able to gain the most ground, and that is probably the 2 best passing areas on the racetrack as well. Gibbs still battling Creed simultaneously while the battle for second heats up. The 28 car a lot less stable through the S's as he bounces off the curbs, a lot more smoother as AJ Allmendinger. Looking to the inside, Allmendinger going to send it. Dive bomb move, the 28 going to try to arc the corner off. No chance at a crossover. Allmendinger quickly gasses up and he clears that 28 car by about a car length to 2, maybe 3 car lengths off the exit of turn 11. So at the time that they crossed the start-finish line, it was a 3.389 second lead for Larson over Allmendinger. And now we will see it carded out. In fact, that last lap, even with passing the 28 car in turn 11, AJ was about a 1/10 of a second quicker than Larson. So could be a nice one-on-one battle between the 2 guys that have only won 1 race this Xfinity season, but only in 1 start each. I think that could be a fun battle to the end of this race. So even though Larson's the favorite, Allmendinger still proving why he is the best road course racer in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, probably in history in the series. Most wins all time of any other driver with 11 in the Xfinity Series on 6 different tracks of the 8 that he's attempted, and looking to make it a 7th different track in the 9th attempted here today. He has also won 6 of his last 8 races he's entered in the Xfinity Series when you date back to his full-time season back in 2021 when he made it to the Championship 4 as well. And if I remember correctly, I believe he did win the regular season championship that year also. So definitely strong in these Xfinity cars at Colleague Racing is the 10 of Allmendinger. And I'd say he's probably done a better job in that car, obviously, in just the 2 races he's ran than anybody else who has driven that car throughout the course of the season. Now, granted, Allmendinger, road course ace, and he's only raced the road races in the 10 car, but still pretty good. Jordan Taylor had a solid start to the race at Portland. He was driving the 10 for Colleague Racing last week. Ran top 10 until about the final 5 to 10 laps of the race, and then I think he got booted wide after contact, and he ended up finishing outside of the top 20. He might have gotten caught up in one of those late race accidents as well. But whatever the case was, he definitely lost a lot of time after running pretty much 4th to 6th most of the day. But Allmendinger able to push the issue a little bit more experience, obviously, in NASCAR, especially on the road courses, so that only means better things for AJ today versus maybe what we would have seen from anybody else in that car this weekend. During the commercial break for the first time today, we'll get a quick rundown of the full field running order. We're on lap 7 of 79. Kyle Larson is your race leader. AJ Allmendinger is in second. He is 3.3 seconds off the race lead, and AJ was another 1/10 of a second quicker than Larson that last lap. Eric Almirola sits in third. Justin Allgaier 4th. Ty Gibbs is in 5th. Sheldon Creed 6th. Daniel Hemrick 7th. Sam Mayer 8th. John Hunter Nemechek 9th. And Parker Kligerman is in 10th. Sammy Smith in 11th. Ross Chastain up to 12th. Austin Hill in 13th. Alex LeMay 14th. And Brett Moffitt is 15th. Parker Retzlaff in 16th, Chandler Smith 17th, Josh Berry 18th, Daniel Suarez 19th, and Kyle Weatherman is 20th. Josh Bilicki in 21st, Josh Williams in 22nd, Cole Custer in 23rd, Riley Herbst 24th, and Jeremy Clements is 25th. 26th is Sage Karam, Kaz Gralla 27th, 28th is Ty Dillon, Connor Mosack 29th, and Brandon Jones is 30th. 31st is Jeb Burton, Blaine Perkins 32nd, Brad Perez 33rd, Ryan Sieg 34th, and Dylan Lupton is 35th. 36 is Jeffrey Earnhardt, Anthony Alfredo in a backup car at 37th after wrecking in practice yesterday, and Joe Graff Jr. rounds out the 38 car field. All cars on the lead lap through these first 8 laps of the race. They're back from the commercial break on FS1. I'll let you guys listen into that up until the next commercial break. Don't want to get copyrighted for that music, so I'll give it a couple extra seconds here. 12 laps to go in stage 1.
I actually had it on my iPod when I was a kid.
When you were a kid, you're
That's
still
right.
a kid. What do you mean? When I was a kid, I mean,
Yeah, I don't even know where to go with that.
That's
Adam.
embarrassing,
He's so much
Austin.
younger than we are that he could be our kid.
I'm glad you're in the middle. I'd punch him if I was sitting next to him.
Ow. Aggressive,
Pretty
man.
harsh. You're supposed to be calm, peaceful during these broadcasts.
After that sensual intro at the beginning of this thing, you come at me with that.
I maybe just need a little cab to calm me down.
100%. Bring him too.
While we were away, Ty Gibbs jumped by Sheldon Creed, so the 19 is in the top 5. Cole Custer trying to rally toward the front. What's the story there, Regan?
Well, Adam, he's up 4 spots since the start of the race to 22nd position. But keep an eye on something he told me right as he was getting in the race car. Yesterday, they were blocking up front brakes really bad on that car. They made a change to try and stop that from happening, a different brake pad combination in the front. During qualifying, he did not like the stopping power that car had. And as he gets further through the front of the field, it's going to get more and more tough to try and get underneath guys and out-brake guys as he's going. And I'm actually getting a report right now that he is losing a good amount of brake pedal already. So something to keep an eye on for Cole Custer.
Yeah, and this is just a really easy racetrack to lock up the front tires, so they wanted to try to resurrect that problem to not lock up the front tire, but not having the stopping power that you need in the brake zones is probably worse than sliding a tire. But see Sam Mayer come off of turn 4 right there with the textbook pass into turn 7, and there we go. Tire locking up. Missed the corner.
2 drivers going for their first career win. Mayer in the 1, Creed in the 2. And both really good road racers. Impressive last Saturday in Portland. Mayer didn't qualify after an issue in practice, came from the back and got his best ever run on a road course in the Xfinity Series, came home 3rd.
Sam's had a really solid last couple months. I feel like they've been anything too exciting, but I think some stability is pretty good for a guy like him. You know, be able to come in and just knock off some top 10s and be able to run up front. You know, I think he's moving up through the field here pretty nicely, trying to establish himself where they need to belong for the race. But pace-wise, I think something that's really exciting for everyone is that A.J. Allmendinger has been faster than Kyle Larson for quite a few number of laps in a row. Not very fast, but it's looking good here.
Parker Kligerman qualified 12th. Told me in the garage area this afternoon, man, I just missed advancing to that second round of qualifying, but he's picked up 3 spots, 9th right now for the 48.
Yeah, and when you talk about road courses, that's right in Parker's wheelhouse to try to take advantage of. We saw him in Portland and thought he was in position to get more out of the day than he did, but here we are at another road course and he gets another shot. Josh?
Yeah, and speaking of the 48 of Parker Kligerman, remember last week at Portland, they make that move in overtime to go for the win and kind of gamble, and it resulted in that 14th place finish for them. And I talked to him earlier in the garage, and he said, you know what, we're at a place where we know road courses are our best shot to get a win. I had to make that move. If I'm in that situation again, I would do the very same thing. They put a lot of stock in these road course races, and they know this stretch is very important for them to get their win. They're seeking Regan.
Well, you guys were mentioning in the booth how the lap times for A.J. Allmendinger right now are very good. Kyle Larson's team took notice of that already. Kevin Mendering reporting to his driver exactly where he was losing the time, where he needs to pick it up a little bit. Turns 4 and turns 7, the areas they've highlighted early on.
Over halfway through our opening stage, 9 to go. And we will not throw the caution, but we'll give stage points and a playoff point. And I say we'll give a playoff point, but maybe we won't. If Kyle Larson's out there, it'll just go unspoken for. Boy, right now it's hard to imagine that he won't be the man.
Well, even that feedback, you know, that Kyle's getting from his team, turn 4 and turn 7, those are 2 straight line brake zones. And what have we seen a lot of so far in the 12 laps that we've done? AJ passing a lot of people in straight line brake zones. So I think that tells Kyle where his strengths and weaknesses are, because probably going to get a caution at some point. They're probably going to have to race each other. And I want to know that. Those are the things as a leader you need to be focusing on, because at some point that's going to go away. In NASCAR racing, you have to expect that. You're not going to be able to have that advantage. So how do you process, you know, how do I make my weaknesses better when you're leading a race?
And the one guy that's really struggling on the camera right here is Sheldon Creed. I look at his lap times. You can see his car sliding around a lot, and Parker Kligerman's getting ready to take advantage of that. So the last lap was substantially slower than the cars in front of him, or the cars in front of him for sure. But he's definitely struggled the last lap to make some lap time.
And Sheldon seems to know it because he's kind of just letting guys go by. He's worried about using up too much of his stuff getting past.
Kligerman was there in 11, not close enough to pounce. 48 stays 9th behind Sheldon Creed. 8 laps to go. Stage 1 in Sonoma for the NASCAR.
So there you heard it. 8 laps left in stage number 1. Kyle Larson with a 2.7 second lead remaining over AJ Allmendinger in P2. Eric Almirola sits P3, 6.5 seconds off the race lead. Justin Allgaier's in 4th place, 7.4 seconds back. Ty Gibbs is 10.2 seconds back in 5th, and then Daniel Hemrick is in 6th place at 13.9 seconds off the lead. Sam Mayer is in 7th, 14.3 seconds off the lead. Sheldon Creed in 8th, 15.8 seconds back. Parker Kligerman in 9th is 16.2 seconds behind Larson. And John Hunter Nemechek is in 10th, 17 seconds off the race lead already in just 13 laps to start this race. Quick shout-outs as well to those who I didn't shout out since the start of the race. Robert Perkel, Brandon Martinez, James Moore, and others. Welcome into the stream. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't yet already on the channel. Over the last over the last 30 days, the last month on the channel, almost 70% of viewers are not subscribed, so definitely hit the subscribe button. Helps these streams out a ton, helps the races out a ton on the channel, whether it's for the live commentary purposes or even during the week with other streams that we'll get back into here shortly. I know I haven't streamed during the week the last few weeks, but trust me, I'm working on trying to get a new laptop right now, because for anybody who was in the live commentary stream for the Cup race at Kansas about 3 weeks ago, the stream ended up completely crashing. That's the 3rd time my laptop has actually gone kaplooey up to that point. I think I did it one other time since then, but it was when I was taking notes for the NASCAR race last weekend, the Cup race, so luckily it wasn't actually on stream again like it was for Kansas. So hopefully we can get through this weekend. They're off next week, and I think I should have my new laptop by the time they get to Nashville. I picked up overtime at work this week, so I'm grinding the hours at work the next few weeks. So even though I'm not streaming, I'm still trying to get that extra money on the side, so that way I can put it down and still be able to travel to races as planned this year. Next race I plan on going to is the Chicago Street Course race for the Xfinity and the Cup Series races. So those will be the next channel videos that you'll see for actual race highlight videos. I had a brain fart there for a second. The race highlight videos from the grandstands that you guys like for races I go to. I've only been to Talladega this season, so usually trying to get to a handful of races throughout the year. Definitely want to go to the Chicago Street Race, especially if it sounds like it's going to be one and done. I only live 3.5 hours away from Chicago, so I feel like I'm kind of obligated to have to go to that one. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. And then I plan on going to Richmond in July as well, at the end of July. I think it's, like the 29th or something like that. It's the last Sunday. Plan on more than likely only being there for the Cup race that day. Michigan, of course, that's my home track. I only live, actually I lived like an hour and a half away from there. Now I only live like 50 minutes from the track. So definitely looking at planning on going to those races as well this season. Sounds like they are back from the commercial break. We are still under green flag conditions. Couple of spins during the caution. The 38 car of Joe Graff Jr. had gone around in turn 6, and then it looked like right around, it looked like one of the corners in the S, the 39 car of Ryan Sieg went around as he was trying to go side by side through the corner. It looked like the wheel hop for the 38 is what caused him to spin all on his own there in turn 6 in the downshifting portion of the corner. Got in just a little too hot. A big battle for positions going on right now. 4-car battle, in fact, between Sammy Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, Brett Moffitt, and Austin Hill. All to get inside the top 10 right now. Battles 10th through 13th on the racetrack. 5 laps to go in the stage, so of course there's 1 stage point on the line for finishing 10th. So that is probably another reason why that battle is so heated. Sammy Smith got back around John Hunter, and he's kind of slowly pulling away from him. Sam Mayer also trying to get by Daniel Hemrick. I'm sure the crew chiefs are in the ear of these drivers. Hey, you got to go hard now at this point in the run because we are going to be awarding points for any positions in the top 10 here shortly. And remember, there isn't, it's extra track position because you're gaining a position on track, but no guaranteed caution here. Still trying to leapfrog in the running order, though. And we'll see how green flag pit stops will stack up, because I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of the people hit pit road at the end of the stage to try to get on fuel. I'm not sure exactly what the fuel window is for these cars. Again, it's the first Xfinity race at this racetrack, so it's kind of tough to gauge for sure if it's going to be a 2 or 3 stop race for fuel. Man, Sam Mayer's just really hauling the mail through turn number 9, sliding the rear tires out. Parker Kligerman trying to close in on that battle. He's been stuck behind Daniel Hemrick for about a half a dozen laps or so now, because before the commercial break, those two were battling. Mayer was all over the back of the 11, just couldn't get around him during that break and continues to stay behind him. Kyle Larson has picked it up a little bit. He was faster than AJ Allmendinger by about 0.3 of a second that last lap. And it seems like he's been a couple tenths quicker lap the last handful of laps. AJ did cut that lead down to about 2.2 seconds once he initially got to second place. He was about 3.5 seconds back. But then right around lap 12 or 13, Larson has been quicker the last 3 or 4 completed laps again. So maybe AJ had cooked his tires up a little too much after starting 6th, trying to get up to second in those early dozen laps, that by the time he got to P2 was slowly running down Larson. Might have gone through too much. So we'll see after pit stops if maybe the 10 can try to eat back into that lead again, and obviously going to have a quick stop on pit road as well. If he could pit a lap before Larson, that'll probably help him leapfrog a little bit. We have seen quite a bit of tire fall off. In fact, Larson's fastest lap of the day was an 80.763. That last lap was an 82.782, so we've already seen about 2 seconds of tire fall off in these first 17 laps on what is fairly an old surface at Sonoma. I can't remember exactly when the last time they repaved this racetrack. I think it was in the mid to late 2000s, so there is quite a bit of wear on this track compared to most other road courses on the schedule, and you're definitely seeing a lot of tire fall off as a result. The drier conditions, I'm sure as well, that we usually see this time of the year in Northern California probably has to play into that kind of an effect as well. Especially in the certain areas of the corners during these long green flag stretches where sod or some of that dirt may be kicking up off of the curbs onto the racetrack and making some corners a little bit more slippery than what they were before. These curbs at Sonoma, very violent. Big hop by Ty Gibbs as he worked his way across turn 6, and a lot of other drivers have done that, but both front tires coming up off the ground, all 4 tires across the curb in turn 7 as well, but he is still gaining ground on Allgaier despite those aggressive lines. It's all about how steady you exit the curb. Try not to overcorrect the race car and keep as little bit of a wiggle as possible. Hard to do in these low downforce race cars. Austin Hill moving past John Hunter Nemechek for a spot. It looked like Nemechek backed up the corner, tried to duck back in line behind him. When he did that, he got hit from behind, it looked like, by the 91 of Chastain. Luckily, Nemechek was able to keep his car going in the right direction there and not get spun off the front bumper of Chastain. We see that almost every week, so we usually don't see it in the Xfinity series, though, because Chastain, obviously a Cup regular, has ran select Xfinity races this season. He got into him. That time he did spin him. Around goes Nemechek off the front bumper of Ross Chastain in turn 11. He got into him in turn 7 after getting in hot. Turn 11, he completely spins him out. Nemechek's going to lose 4 to 5 positions before he's able to get back up to speed onto the main straightaway, and it looks like he just got passed by Chandler Smith. Nemechek is going to fall from 10th to 18th. In one corner after that spin, and I'm sure he is upset. Second week in a row he has spun on a road course, he being Nemechek, and all off of Chastain, who definitely drove it in a little too deep. 2 tight corners in a row, and the hairpin in turn 7 and then in turn number 10 as well. It looked like we ended up seeing, or 11 rather I should say, that we ended up seeing a massive shot that spun the 20 car around. He did a great job saving it a couple corners before, but obviously couldn't save it there. It was an even harder hit than what he had before. W. Knight, Dale Campbell, Brett Whiteside, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. Watching commercials does help me, yes. I do appreciate that you guys sit through those when I air them during these live commentary streams. We are on the final lap of Stage 1 right now. These last 4 or 5 laps clicked by pretty quickly. A lot of action on racetrack, although not a lot of action at the front of the field between the top 2. Positions 4 on back have been some pretty heated battles in the top 10. Sam Mayer and Parker Kligerman battling for 7th. Mayer's lost touch of the 11 car, and Kligerman's really been able to eat away at that 7th place position on track. Those guys, both Xfinity regulars. Kligerman, of course, on the cutoff line as of right now for the Xfinity Series playoffs. Sam Mayer hasn't had a win. He's still pretty comfortably on points ahead of the cutoff line, but we have seen quite a few different winners. Looks like early pit strategy. Riley Herbst is on pit road for a 4-tire stop at lap 20.
Stop from here, so that could be a 2-stop, but maybe they are thinking divided more into thirds in pit 3 different times and take advantage of all those tires.
Kyle Larson going to work his way down into turn number 11, and this will be a stage win for the 17 team. It'll be his second stage win of the Xfinity Series season. Of course, had one in his win at Darlington this year, and now he's going to get a stage win at Sonoma in his second race. So Kyle Larson getting it done from the pole, leading the first 20 laps. 3.2 second advantage over Allmendinger in this first stage. Josh Berry very slow on the racetrack. I'm not sure what happened to him, but looks like he's taking an access road trying to make his way through the hairpin, and he is slow. So problems for Josh Berry, and this might bring out a caution as he is going to end up being stalled in the S's. So the caution flag is out for Berry right as the stage ends. So we don't usually see cautions anymore on road courses during the stage breaks, but we get a caution right at the actual stage end with Josh Berry stalling out. Mechanical issues there on that car. He's been outside the top 15 most of the day, unlike some of his other JRM teammates. So Berry having some troubles here, and the woes continue for this 8 team who's still trying to find victory lane for the first time. It doesn't look like it will be today either. Once again, your top 10 through stage 1, though. Kyle Larson wins the stage, AJ Allmendinger second, Eric Almirola third. So the top 3 Cup regulars. And then Justin Allgaier is the highest finishing Xfinity regular, finishing 4th in the stage. Ty Gibbs, another Cup regular, ends up 5th. All Xfinity regulars finish 6th through 10th, with Daniel Hemrick finishing 6th, Sam Mayer 7th, Parker Kligerman 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, and Sammy Smith 10th. And we'll probably be seeing pit road open next time by once they get the field all lined up once again here behind the pace car, and we will be seeing some pit stops for pretty much everybody in the field because nobody has made a stop. Now, with Riley Herbst short pitting, and I believe he was on the lead lap still when the caution flag came out, this caution's perfect for him because he's going to leapfrog, and he should be the leader when we go green. So Herbst with a great strategy call, short pitting, got the caution he needed. That was perfect, and the 98 team should be able to stay out. And he was outside the top 20 after not qualifying very well earlier today. So great job for Herbst to try to get track position. Even if he doesn't have a fast car and falls quickly outside the top 10, if they can just run like even 12th all day, that's an easy nearly dozen positions he gained extra with a net by the end of the race by just pitting at lap 15 when he did. He knew he wasn't going to get any stage points, decided to play that game, and it worked out well for him. Misery Ave, Sid for Brains, thanks for tuning in as well. And while we're under this caution, before we get the pit stops in, we will take a quick ad break here. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the DoorDash 250 at Sonoma, live on KRC and the YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe as we get moving here through this Sonoma race weekend of live commentary streaming. Be sure to run that like counter up if you guys have not hit that like button already as well. We're up to 51 likes on the stream. Our goal is 100 for tonight's Xfinity race. We have well over that many people already watching, so definitely be sure to hit the like button again if you haven't yet. So first live commentary coverage of the weekend with the trucks having off. They were at Sonoma last year, but not this year. They'll be at Mid-Ohio in a couple weeks, but the Xfinity Series, of course, at Sonoma this weekend. All 3 series will be off next week, so no live commentary streams next week on the channel. The following week, though, it will be a triple header at Nashville the weekend after Father's Day. So to end out the month of June, we've got the Xfinity and the Cup Series again at Nashville Super Speedway on a night race for the Cup Series on a Sunday night. So that'll be interesting. Cooler temps in the hot Nashville heat of the summer. Larson going to lead the field onto pit road, our first stops of the afternoon.
First stage of the day goes to Kyle Larson. Started on the pole, has led 21 laps, but he and everyone else making pit stops. Regan?
Well, Adam, it's been smooth sailing for Kyle Larson so far, as you mentioned. The biggest issue he's got, he said he feels just a little bit free through turns 1 and 9, which are both left-handed corners. Other than that, though, he said the balance feels great on my race car right now. And the 18 car, Sammy Smith, doing a nice job in the 10th position so far. He said he needs a little bit more lateral grip with the rear of that car, meaning the rear tires are sliding just a little too much. Josh?
Well, Eric Almirola in that 28 was dealing with the helmet air hose issue off the top of the race, and then that car started to build loose, so they're going to take 2 rounds out of both rears to try and help him out. As far as the 10 of AJ Allmendinger, he said he's tight in the left-handers, freer in the right-handers, and he needs some drive off, guys.
You see this race off pit road. Looks like Kyle Larson going to hold serve of those that make a stop. Allmendinger comes out second. Look at Josh Berry just sitting there idle on the pit lane.
Yeah, they pushed him down.
So a lot of 4-tire stops there. Fox's graphic is showing a lot of no-tire and 2-tire stops, but pretty much everybody came down. They took 4. Kyle Larson easily won the race off of pit road. A couple of the bigger movers, Sheldon Creed, Parker Kligerman, and Sam Mayer, each gained 2 positions. Eric Almirola loses 5 spots from 3rd now back to 8th for this upcoming restart. Well, actually, it'll be 9th because we do have Riley Herbst, who will be the leader on the restart, as he again stayed out of the pits because he had pitted right before the caution flag came out. He was still in the lead lap. That's one thing you can get away with, short pitting on road courses. That's the whole part of the strategy game, especially with no caution scheduled during the stage break. We just so happened to get a caution right when he pitted at lap 20. Tried to gain some time on drivers by short pitting. We saw about 2 seconds of fall off after about a 17-lap period. So tires do matter this weekend. I do believe the Xfinity Series has 4 sets. The Cup Series tomorrow will have 5 sets of tires. So still about 2 more sets, I think, that they can actually put on their race cars before the end of this race, and we still have 57 laps to go. I'm going to imagine that they shouldn't go over that, even if we see quite a few cautions in today's race. But who knows? We'll see. Who's on the pole tomorrow? I actually couldn't catch practice or qualifying. I happened to be on the golf course when that was going on today. So I missed it. I have no clue. Yeah, I mean, the 24-hour of Le Mans is coming up. That's this weekend, isn't it? I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's this weekend. It might be going on right now, for all I know. I don't really follow sports car racing too much. I know a lot of NASCAR fans maybe more so following that this weekend with the Garage 56 entry for Hendrick Motorsports in that race. I don't know much in detail what's all going on there. The differences that they had to make to the car to run that race in a sports car series versus what they would be on the racetrack, say, today or tomorrow, I guess, for the Cup race. Yeah, I shot a 79 today. I had 2 chip-ins for birdie in the same round, which was kind of nuts. I only had 3 greens in regulation, though. I shot a 79, so chipping was amazing. Putting, not that great. When I did have medium putts for, like, par, I wasn't making them. Those were the holes I was bogeying, so kind of hit or miss. I've been really good, though, the last, like, week and a half. I shot a 72 last mid-season form. Now I'm able to play more with the weather a lot nicer. We actually haven't had rain where I lived in almost 3 weeks, and it's supposed to start raining tomorrow afternoon, so I got to make sure I get out really early. Obviously, with the Cup race tomorrow, I'm doing live commentary for that. I know I have to get out onto the course in the morning anyway, but even earlier tomorrow, though, because I think it's supposed to start rolling in about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So should be able to get 18 in, get up about 7, 8 o'clock. I only live like 6 minutes from the course, so beat all the old-timers out there and should be able to go smooth sailing. Blaney starting 31st. Ouch. They missed the setup this weekend, or? Yeah, I didn't see anything. I go through all my notes usually Sunday morning. When I get back from the golf course, I go through all my notes and figure out who I'm going to end up picking for the race. Got 125 people watching, 59 likes. Be sure to like and subscribe again if you haven't already for more daily NASCAR content. 74 votes so far in the chat for who you think will win today's race. 50% say Kyle Larson, 28% says AJ Allmendinger, other at 19%, and 3% for Sheldon Creed. So it was a lot tighter than that pre-race as far as the voting poll goes, but definitely vote. Larson, Allmendinger 1-2 right now through these first 23 laps. We'll close that poll at the end of stage 2. 25 laps in the second stage, so we're racing to lap 45 to receive more stage points here.
Favorite thing about working with Jeb all year?
When Jeb beats me.
Like physically? I fed the baby. What hair product do you use? Kevin Harvick is a psychopath. Back to whoever's next.
You were a real Jim.
This is pretty good. They got my favorite one in there. That interview with Jeb. That kid is my favorite kid in all of Sonoma. Look at that. That's my signature. That's my signature.
Okay.
It's not a Kozlowski hat.
I
Thank you very
love
much.
it that we went to break and you said that. Oh, that's a Keselowski hat. And he refuted that so strongly.
Quickly.
And then he said, full-on ego boost.
Absolutely. Well, in the Penske merchandise hauler, they have like a Joey Logano section, a Ryan Blaney section, and then an Austin Cindric section. And so that kid found that hat. He had to look in the corner of that thing to find that hat. So
He probably bought it after the drivers only broadcast.
either that or it was on sale.
Yeah.
Do you have a promo code that we can use?
No, I mean, I'll give him a T-shirt. I mean, that's awesome. He's got some fire in him too. I like it.
This kid belongs on pit road.
Oh, he's hitting the guy with the Ford Mobile One helmet on.
This is not good. Highly controversial.
Yes.
What do you see here, Coleman, as we line up for this restart?
Well, I want to go back to what we just seen there happen with Riley Herbst, Austin Hill, and John Hunter Nemechek. They were able to flip the stage, and a lot of that's because the spotters seen Josh Berry without traction going down the hill in turns 3, and ultimately what brought the caution out in turn 7. As that was happening, I looked over my back shoulder and seen a lot of spotters grabbing the left side of their headset, which is a direct communication over the crew chief. So you have about a 20-second window to let the crew chief know and let the crew chief make the decision if he's willing to come right now or not. So just another way that the spotter can play a role here at road courses.
And I think most of them were probably saying, pit now, pit now, pit now, right?
Well, you know what the part I'm impressed the most with about Coleman today is he's able to function without Joey in the booth.
And now we have more controversy.
Oh my goodness.
Where do we get one of those?
I don't know.
So, again, there were actually more drivers than just Riley Herbst that pitted right before the caution came out. So, Riley Herbst, Austin Hill, John Hunter Nemechek, and Sage Karam will actually be ahead of Kyle Larson and A.J. Allmendinger on this ensuing restart. Still under yellow. I'm not sure why there's such a lengthy caution for this. They didn't really have to clean up any fluid from that mechanical issue in the stoppage. It sounds like a loss of traction, I guess, for Josh Berry, whatever the case was. Berry ended up stalling out on the racetrack, and that brought out the yellow, but still under caution to this point. So they're taking another commercial break here before we get back to racing. Stephen Hooten, thanks for tuning in. Sharitha Cooper, thanks for watching as well here on the Saturday Night Arenas there. Larson's 15th? No, he's in 5th. I don't know why, I don't know where you got 15th from. This was a typo. But yeah, again, the top 4 cars stayed out of the pits during the caution because they pitted right before the yellow. And I think Herbst pitted about a lap or two before, or probably about a lap before Hill, Nemechek, and Karam. So he was able to actually cycle ahead of those guys despite not running ahead of them prior to his stop. Definitely made up a little bit of time there. Oh, okay, for Cup. Gotcha. Johnny Reynolds, thanks for tuning in also. Denny Hamlin on the poll. Dale, thanks for tuning in also. Misery Avenue. Assuming that's what AVE stands for your channel name. Yeah, we'll see. I think Kyle Busch is going to be a contender tomorrow just based off of how that 8 car has ran in road course races in recent years. Obviously, Tyler Reddick has been really strong. Chase Elliott's a pretty good road course racer, but he just has been in the car a whole lot this year, so I don't really trust him as much as maybe those other two, but I'll have more on the pre-race for tomorrow. We'll go live about 50 minutes before the drop of the green flag at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for anybody watching this live commentary stream tonight, be sure to tune in tomorrow, again, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our live commentary coverage of the Toyota SafeMart 350 at Sonoma. For the Cup race, give my in-depth predictions. Predictions have been on fire this year. Predicted the winner 7 times, including last week taking Kyle Busch to win at Gateway. So you won't want to miss any of it if you're looking to maybe make some late bets. Been pretty nail on with all my, especially the must-have picks this year. My race win pick has only finished outside the top 10 twice this season, and outside the top 5 4 times in the first. How many races have we had? And this is including the Clash in the All-Star race too. So if you include those races, I think we've had 16 or 17 races this year, and they've only finished outside the top 10 or outside the top 5 4 times, outside the top 10 twice. So, you can pretty much guarantee those drivers that I'm picking are going to have some pretty solid days. The only ones that they didn't finish in the top 10, it was Larson at Dover when he got in that wreck after Chastain ended up crashing Brennan Poole right in front of him. I took Larson there, and he looked fast early. And there was another race. I think it was one of the other races I took Larson early in the year. No, because he ended up getting a good finish at Vegas. I think he still ended up second. Which one? I gotta think about this a little bit. Who did I take at Talladega? Maybe that was the race. No, because I took Logano. I think he had a good finish. I honestly can't remember. Maybe you guys will know in the chat. There definitely was another race, though, that had to have been another race where somebody DNF'd. Has to be. Yep, the race is on Fox Sports 1. This is the last Xfinity Series race on Fox. They'll be switching over to USA Network at NBC for the NASCAR Xfinity and Cup Series schedule for the rest of the season, starting at Nashville in 2 weeks. Again, off week next week for all 3 series. Linda Bollinger and Dale Opplinger, welcome into the stream. Darlington. That was the race that I got it wrong, too? I think I took Larson. Oh, yeah, that's right. I took Larson in that one, and Chastain took him out late. That's right. Yeah, so coincidentally, both picks I've taken Larson. Now, I'm taking Larson to win his only Xfinity race. Got that right. Picked him to win tonight, so we'll see. See if I'm usually pretty good when I do pick Kyle Larson to win, except for if he makes it to the checkered flag, he usually wins. But if he doesn't make it to the checkered flag, then that's pretty much the only reason I feel like I'm wrong on those predictions, because he definitely has had speed. Front row in the restart will be Austin Hill, John Hunter Nemechek. They actually did cycle out ahead of Riley Herbst. Green flag back in the air. 2x2 as the field as they roll through turns 1 and 2. Still door-to-door for the lead between the 20 and the 21 as they go uphill through the carousel. Hill looking to clear down low. Can't do it. Bottlenecking on the inside too. And not quite 3 or 4 wide like they were on the initial start, but a lot of smoke being kicked up into the air after cars maybe clipping a bit of the grass. Austin Hill clear for the race lead on John Hunter Nemechek. Big block being made in the middle of the pack by Almirola and Sammy Smith. 3 wide into turn 6. Further back, Almirola slides the rear tires off the curbing. A lot of cars scattering all over the place looking to make passes. Smith in hot into the curbing. Bounces off of it. Can't stay underneath the 28 cars. He tried to get the crossover move and almost gets passed by Hemrick on the high side as they work 2x2 into the S's. Ty Gibbs squeezes off the 7 car of Justin Allgaier as they battle for 7th. Other drivers trying to get in formation. A lot of contact being made there, and great job by every driver keeping it on the racetrack. No incidences. Kyle Larson quickly up to 2nd on the restart as he's going to get by John Hunter Nemechek. In 1 lap, he goes from 5th to 2nd place, and he's all over the back of the 21 as he crosses the start-finish line. Needs to work his way through the field quicker than Allmendinger, who is not that far behind him. AJ trying to get by the 20 car of John Hunter Nemechek as well. Justin Allgaier passes Sage Karam on the front stretch. to move up to 7th. Karam is the furthest back of the 4 that restarted at the front of the field after not pitting during that caution. I think that yellow ended up taking 6 laps. I'm not sure why it was quite that long, but big loose moment for Kyle Larson, just trying to get to the gas as soon as he possibly could. Clears the 21 before they even really made their way into the entry to turn 7, and Larson is clear. And quickly trying to pull away. Allmendinger still stuck behind John Hunter Nemechek as they battle for 3rd, and that is not what he needs, as Kyle Larson is looking to get out to as big of a lead as he can. His largest of the day was about 3.5 seconds before AJ took over 2nd, and it never really grew any more than that earlier. Allmendinger hard into turn 11, gets to the inside of Nemechek. Same spot Larson passed the 20 the last lap for 2nd at the time. AJ gets by for 3rd. And I would have to imagine in the hairpin is where he's going to try to attack on Austin Hill, just like Larson did the last lap as well. Parker Kligerman back into the top 10 off the restart. Roll after that slow pit stop, losing 5 spots, losing a couple more in the restarts, falling back to 10th. Sheldon Creed outside the top 10 after starting in the 3rd place position today as well. His teammate Austin Hill in 2nd with that strategy call, though, getting them some extra track position. Remember, Hill and Nemechek battling for the regular season point standings coming into this one. Pretty tight battle at that. And it's been tight pretty much since the start of the season. Those two have gone neck and neck quite a bit. Ty Gibbs underneath of his teammate, John Hunter Nemechek. Gibbs going to kind of let him go there. Couldn't stay underneath him off of the hairpin at turn 7. Into the S's, just looking to stay in line. He's really rounding the corners out a lot better than the 20. Nemechek sliding his tires a lot more, struggling for grip. Now into the flattest area of the racetrack, down towards turns 10 and 11. Before they start to work themselves back up the hill the following lap. Cole Custer has made his way to 16th, 10 positions gained from the start of the race for last week's winner. Kyle Larson has a 1.449 second lead at the start-finish line over Austin Hill. That last lap, Nemechek is only 0.2 of a second behind Hill. Was not able to get by him at all that last lap, maybe a little too far back once he finally got by the 20. A lot of sun glare, turns 1 and 2, and then working up into 3. It's got to be treacherous on those restarts, especially if we do end up seeing somebody spinning in that area. Luckily, we haven't seen that on the restarts yet today. We've seen a couple spins during the longer green flag runs in Stage 1, but no cautions for incident outside of the Josh Berry stallage in the S's at lap 15. Allmendinger to the inside of Hill. Hill gets a great corner exit off of turn 7. And he is not going to give that position up quite yet. About 2.3 seconds behind Kyle Larson right now. So again, he is just kind of slowly pulling away. 15 laps to go at Stage 2, this time by at the start-finish line.
Surgery to donate his kidney. They removed the cancer, and the surgery that he did to donate his kidney likely saved his own life. An amazing story that came out this week, and we're so thankful that that worked out the way it did after such an unselfish act to donate your kidney to a friend. Allmendinger was able to get 2nd away from Austin Hill. Right behind that group, Gibbs, Nemechek, Allgaier back there in 6th. He's been somewhat quiet. Things getting physical here.
Oh, man.
Okay, so that's one of my biggest pet peeves as a race car driver on a road course. Blocking on the brake zone. You know, John Hunter obviously was trying to defend the position, but Ty had already committed to the brake pedal. You know, he's already committed to driving hard into the brake zone. And if you move a car in front of me, it's not going to help me stop any better until I hit it. So I think no fault there by Ty, just trying to make an overtaking move, and John Hunter was trying to cover the position. So definitely a tough spot that you put yourself in if you try and move the car.
You almost wonder if that was maybe what caused Nemechek to spin off the front of Chastain earlier, too, because it was the same exact corner and almost the same exact location where there was contact between those two cars, which spun the 20 back in the early going of this race. Ty Gibbs working his way to the inside of the 21 car of Austin Hill to move himself into P3, and maybe trying to make this a 3-car battle for the race win today with the 17 of Larson, the 10 of Allmendinger. The Cup regulars have dominated this race, and of course a lot of these Xfinity Series drivers have not even raced at Sonoma before this weekend. 50-minute practice session, that was about it. Remember, this is the first Xfinity race here, so a lot of the Xfinity regulars haven't raced here, or maybe haven't raced here in a while. They only had one truck race here, which was the year before, so unless you were in the truck series in 2021, like maybe Sheldon Creed, Austin Hill, you haven't really been able to get much track time at this track before the race weekend, so it's definitely laying into hands for these Cup regulars. Again, 1, 2, 3 at the front of the field. Sage Karam just got ran into the back of off of turn 6. Couldn't tell who by. It looked like maybe Sammy Smith in the 18 car, and he's got a tire rub on that right rear, it appears. Sam Mayer going to work his way around, and the fender on that right rear tire wall is definitely is definitely rubbing quite substantially, and he may have to bring that car back to pit road before he potentially blows that right rear tire. And still trying to hold on to a top 10 position as he is right now in 10th, but a little bit slower. Wasn't really running up where he's at right now prior to him ended up. Oh, and now he gets launched into turn 11. A late block on Sheldon Creed. Almost turned himself and more contact on that right rear. Maybe that'll actually move it off the fender. It could have actually worked out for him. Or it caved it more in and it's going to rub even more. One of the two. Allmendinger is 3.9 seconds behind Larson. This is Larson's largest lead of the day. That last lap, Kyle Larson was about 9/10 of a second quicker than the 10. I don't know if the 10 missed a corner or what the case was there, but either hiccup or just a bad fast lap by Larson. Last lap at the start-finish line now as it just crossed by. Larson was 2/10 of a second quicker, so still faster, and we've seen about 8/10 of a second of tire fall off to this point in the run so far. Kyle Larson just so good at Sonoma. Had his first Cup win here back in 2021. Competed well in last season's race. I think he did win a stage last year as well. Won stage 1 if I'm not mistaken. And I know he starts mid-pack tomorrow, but we'll see what he can do in tomorrow's race as well. I'm sure he could have a pretty solid day at the very least. Side-by-side commercial break right now at FS1. Lap 34 is 79, almost halfway. We'll take a quick break ourselves. You're listening live on KRC on the YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Our goal, 100 likes again on the stream. We're at 66 right now, so be sure to hit that like button as you if you have not already, and again, subscribe. We have seen only about 70% of viewers subscribe to the channel over the last 28 days. So watch time from you guys over the last 28 days, only 70% or 70% are not subscribed, 30% are. So definitely hit that subscribe button. Helps the channel growth out quite a bit, obviously, with the algorithm, and we're on the road to 5,000 subs, and hopefully we get there before the end of the summer. A lot of damage on Josh Williams' number 92 Mario Gosling owned Camaro, and he's trying to limp his way to pit road. That right front tire, wobbling all over the place. His race leader Kyle Larson going to work his way by him, but it doesn't look like Williams will get to pit road unscathed, so we will continue to stay green in the middle portion of this race. Now that last lap, AJ was quicker than Larson, but only by about 0.04 of a second, if that. About 34 hundredths of a second quicker. 34 thousandths of a second quicker, that last lap. Up to 100 votes now. 100 votes, but only 68 likes. Definitely hit that like button, guys. Diana Alvis, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully enjoyed your vacation. Gene Huddleston, welcome into the stream also. Who had to donate a kidney? I think they were talking about Sage Karam. I don't know if they were talking about like him or one of his family members. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I didn't pop into that story till real late. Karam is still on the racetrack. I think that second bit of contact he had with Sheldon Creed kind of moved the right rear fender off the tire. So hopefully no tire issues here for the 44, because he has ran probably 3 or 4 laps since it, and it hasn't really been smoking as much. Still losing positions though. I'm sure it's acting as if it's a parachute on the right side of that race car down these longer straightaways. Not a lot of long straightaways at Sonoma, but the faster areas of the racetrack for sure has to be hurting him aerodynamically. I could see him being maybe a little bit tighter as well from a handling standpoint, even with it being more towards the rear of the car versus on the nose. It's not really lifting the rear of the car up off the ground more to try to loosen it up. Tighter is slower, typically. Can't get back to the gas quite as soon as you can with a looser race car. We're down to 10 laps to go in Stage 2. We are on lap 36 of 79. Remember, end of Stage 2 is at the end of lap 45. Larson's got a 4.27 second lead over AJ Allmendinger that last lap. Ty Gibbs is in third, Austin Hill fourth, John Hunter Nemechek in fifth.
In behind the wheel. 2 trips to victory lane. AJ Allmendinger, that great comeback at Circuit of the Americas. And at Darlington, that amazing finish, Kyle Larson driving for Colleague for the first time. In fact, you look at Larson, he's undefeated this year in truck and Xfinity competition. Ran the truck race for Spire at North Wilkesboro, wins. At the Xfinity start at Darlington for Colleague, he wins. And, well, he's looking to keep his record intact today. Go to 3-0 with 3 different teams.
You're telling Kevin and I something we already know. Kyle Larson's a really good race car driver.
I'm giving his stats from Saturday, not Sunday, you know?
His stats on Sunday are pretty good, too.
By the way, Chris Rice, you see here right of your screen, his wife Tammy was a part of the Better Half Dash that they ran earlier this week over to go-kart track. She, last I checked, had raised over $15,000. Was the top fundraiser in that deal.
It's impressive.
So yeah, great job there, and we salute her and all the other ladies that came out and competed. And you will see the Better Half Dash as a part of NASCAR Race Hub this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1.
So we did not have any staffers here at Fox participating?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right, Coleman, tell us something exciting.
Well, besides me being able to function without Joey, the thing I'm noticing right here, Austin Hill, the guy who flipped the strategy, he's not really falling behind. He's went to school and he's best in class behind these 3 Cup guys in front of him. If you look at his lap times, he's running right where he should be. I think for him right now, he's just going to school, learning off these guys in front of him, and going to take the points as they come.
Hey, he was 12th when they came down pit road and beat the caution.
Yes.
He's 4th right now. As Coleman said, he's in a great spot to pick up some stage points. Riley Herbst is 7th. He was 21st when that whole cycle began.
And Coleman makes a great point, because I think that's really what the Xfinity Series is. And when I came up through the Xfinity Series, you got to race against the Cup drivers. You got to see where they drove on the racetrack. You got to see how they restarted. And as these races go on, you learn, because the spotters see it, the drivers see it, the crew sees it, see it on SMT. You see it all these different places and different corners to make up time and where you're losing time. So you learn so much from the guys who know where to put their car. And that's one great thing for all these guys that are not Cup regulars in this race, is to learn from the Kyle Larsons and Ty Gibbs and AJ Allmendingers with what they need to be doing with their car to go faster.
I do feel like the series now has a pretty good balance, or close to it, of being able to learn how to win and be the best, but also get an eye of what it takes to be the best at the top level. And that's what Austin Hill is able to do right now. That's what I've been able to do in the series, moving to the Cup Series, and a guy like Ty Gibbs as well. You want that challenge. You always really wanted Kyle Busch to be entered in a race or two, because that was a great gauge of where your stuff was at, where you were at as a driver. And the next time he gets in a car, have I gotten better? Am I beating him this time? Okay, no, back to work.
But I will see, we don't see the Cup drivers as much as we used to. And so the Xfinity Series has as good of identity right now as it's had in a long time. Opened the door for a guy like Anthony Alfredo to make a splash, and he's done that. He's really been competitive a few years ago driving for RCR, now the 78 for BJ McLeod. And a huge attaboy to this team. That's a backup car. They pulled out their Portland car, put it back together, after what happened to them yesterday in qualifying. Throttle hung going into turn 1, and it just destroyed their primary. Like when he got out of that car, I'm like, wow, that is a good sight, because look at the result when he went through the corner and hammered that wall.
Yeah, that was a big hit, and as a driver, that's just one of your worst nightmares when that throttle, you lift your foot up and that throttle is still on the floor. Oh, it's a terrible feeling.
So he's running 29th right now in that backup. Eric Almirola.
Tell you what, Eric's
pretty good today.
Eric's had a really good recovery since the restart. I think they lost some spots on pit road, and he's been able to soldier up onto the field. Looking at lap times, he's pretty sporty. So I think this is a good little run for these guys, and hopefully they're not held back on pit road for the rest of the race. Hopefully he can keep this track position.
He's 6th, Nemechek 7th, and after the strategy play, Riley Herbst, who was 4th, has fallen to 8th, but in a good spot to get some stage points, and that's a team that really needs a good run here today, because they have been falling since they opened 2023 with 6 consecutive top 10 finishes. Down to 6 laps to go in our second stage.
Kyle Larson's been good. I think everybody saw it yesterday in practice and how fast this car was. And as we've gone through the beginning part of the race, through the first run, we were like, I think he's driving it hard.
Trying to find the light there.
Yeah, and this second stage, he has lit the wick.
Yeah, whether or not they were able to make some adjustments, just needed to put the tire pressures down a little bit, help with the rear of his car. It sounded like that's what he was struggling with. But AJ had to work through more traffic and stay behind cars longer and use up his car more. I think that's worth adding up to it. But yeah,
how concerning is this, Austin, for Almirola, the skirt there on the right side? Unless it comes off and then we get debris and then we get a caution, right? But right now doesn't seem to be impacting him at all.
Yeah, well, I think you obviously want that side skirt on there, but I think here it's probably less effective than most any other place that you would go to.
Lock up there by Riley.
I think that the biggest thing that he doesn't want to have happen is NASCAR telling him he has to cut it off during the pit stop.
Yeah. Especially after the last pit stop they had, where they lost so much track position.
If they tell you to cut it off, you thought the last one was slow. This one's going to take a whole bunch longer.
This is a nice perspective. Our Monster Energy onboard camera. Riley Herbst up the hill to turn 2.
But I think this camera really shows the elevation change. I think it's 10, 11 stories of elevation change up into from turn 1 and turn 2. This is 3 and 3A. Same thing. You come off this corner, you can't see the exit right here, so you just have to know where you're going. So it's this is turn 4. You want to barely clip that curve. They ground this curve down. That paint's really sticky. And then we go from 4 to 7 because we're just not good at math.
I was wondering how you're going to manage that one.
Yeah,
you're doing great.
Who designed this course? You?
Well, 5 or 6 are the carousel inside, but back through the S's here as you bounce off those curves, and you see the rubber on the curves that we talked about earlier with the curves getting sticky. And down through 9. Want to use the whole curve here going into turn 10. Here late back to the throttle right there, trying to make sure he's not too wide on the exit because there's not much runoff right there. Down the hill, onto the brakes, hugging the tires.
And so much of this lap is muscle memory, because there's really only like 2 or 3 corners you can actually see all of as you're approaching.
You're doing great.
In turn 1, you go up the hill, and you have no idea where the apex of turn 2 is. And even once you get to the apex of turn 2, you have no idea where the exit is. So you're just trusting that it's still there. And having that car in front of you is kind of a nice reference. And the same thing with turn 3. You have no idea where the apex of 3A is, but it's there. It's what you're shooting for. And then where's the exit? It's gone. Turn 4, you finally actually get to see it.
Allmendinger drifting back. Talked about the issues he's got with his car. Ty Gibbs is there down through the S's.
I love that sound off of turn 7 right there, because you just cannot, I can't tell you how slippery it is right now where you hear those guys sliding around, but Ty Gibbs has a good car well, let me rephrase that. Ty Gibbs looks to have a better car than AJ Allmendinger. I don't know that we can say good car compared to Kyle Larson, but see AJ slipping and sliding around there as we've talked the whole race, and whether that's good or bad. But the longer you run, the worse it gets here.
Yeah, AJ's not having fun right now.
No.
Hey, I will say this. We passed the halfway point, completed 42 laps. We're in the window now where you can pit and go. I don't think anyone's going to do that, but that was a strategy that was thrown out there. And we've seen that so many times at a road course, right? Once you're in your window, you get on pit road and then move on. I think most every team wanted to run this through the end of stage 2 before they thought about coming down pit road and making that second pit stop. But I bring it up here only because the top 3, all Cup regulars that outside of the Owners' Championship, are not running for points.
Wait so long to pit last time because of him not having the pace to go out there. As he runs further and further out there and the field gets further and further behind, it lessens the opportunity for people to pit and stay in front of the leader.
Absolutely. I mean, the more cars you gray your laps out, the less opportunity there'll be cars to beat you. I mean, without that caution and without Riley Herbst pitting early, and if Kyle Larson runs harder, Riley Herbst isn't getting stage points.
No.
You know, Riley Herbst is 3 laps away from stage points when he was running 21st the run before.
Ty Gibbs really loose into turn 10 right there.
I keep thinking that Gibbs is going to get there and be able to drive inside AJ and turn 11 and return the favor that AJ's given to so many, and
this is going to be a hard
just hasn't been close enough.
It's going to be a hard pass.
And it's a tough pass here anyway, right? Because
100%.
all the cars are sliding around right now. And AJ is a tough pass, and he does not want to give up track position because he knows he's getting closer and closer to a pit stop to be able to make some adjustments on his car. But he is really struggling to get his car to drive correctly. It's sliding on the entry, it's sliding through the middle, and it won't drive forward.
Well, the last thing that you want when you're swatting bees is to have a coyote walk up on you.
Yeah.
And that's Ty Gibbs. So AJ is not happy right now, and he's not okay with the way he's got to defend this position.
Yeah, the one thing I notice about AJ's car is the early turn in.
Yes.
You know, that really tells you that he's struggling most likely with the back sliding around, and he's having to turn in early and straighten that entry out.
He's a little bit behind. You know, that puts you behind for a lot of these transition corners. You know, you see a lot through 1 and 2 up the hill, but even through 9 down here to 10, all the way up to 10 where you get a big flat slide through the corner.
Custer not going away. Qualified 26th. A few brake issues, but he's 15th right now.
Yeah, and it's like we talked earlier. I think the longer that they run, even though
Pitting this time.
Pitting this time. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, you're outside the top 10. You're not going to get any stage points. Larson has crossed the start-finish line, so we are working the final lap of the stage for those front runners.
This pit road entry.
3 red all the way around.
This pit road entry is pretty difficult because pit road speed isn't until all the way to the curve.
No pit road speed right here until you get to this yellow line over here. See him put his hand up right there.
You can't even see it because the wheel's in front of the tag.
Might be the sun as he came around that corner.
I wondered about the sun being a factor as late in the day as we're running this race here in Sonoma. Custer is in as our race leader Kyle Larson hits turn 7, comes down through the S's. Pole sitters led 38 laps today, won the opening stage, and appears unless something goes drastically wrong, he's going to get the sweep. A 9-second advantage over second place AJ Allmendinger.
Well, and the guys on the
About a 9.8 second advantage, nearly 10 seconds now for Kyle Larson to this point in stage 2. Again, we're on the final lap of the stage. Larson working his way through the final couple corners to sweep these first 2 stages today at Sonoma. This will be his 3rd Xfinity Series stage win of the season. Second in the stage further back is going to more than likely be AJ Allmendinger. We'll have to wait and see if that will be the case as they're just now getting off of turn 11. And yes, Allmendinger will be able to hold on. So Kyle Larson will win stage 2. AJ Allmendinger 2nd. Ty Gibbs 3rd. Justin Allgaier will end up 4th. Austin Hill 5th. Eric Almirola 6th. John Hunter Nemechek 7th. Riley Herbst 8th. Parker Kligerman 9th. And Sam Mayer will round out the top 10, all receiving stage points in the second stage. Final stage 34 laps. We do remain green. I do think they will be heading to a commercial break on FS1. As that goes on, we'll go through the top 10 quickly. Kyle Larson has the race lead. AJ Allmendinger in 2nd. Ty Gibbs 3rd. Justin Allgaier 4th. Austin Hill in 5th. Eric Almirola in 6th place. 7th place, Parker Kligerman. Sammy Smith in 8th. 9th is Chandler Smith. And Sheldon Creed is in 10th. And they are actually not going to a commercial break right now. So we'll tune right back in because I do believe we'll more than likely be seeing some pit stops very shortly.
To get by him. Just heard a report we could see that 10 car coming to pit road.
Yeah, we'll see. Here he comes. AJ's in.
There he goes. Scheduled green flag pit stop, early portion of the final stage at Sonoma.
We need some rear grip, fellas.
Here comes the dinger, Josh.
Yeah, you guys talked about an eventful stage 2 for AJ Allmendinger. Was complaining about that smoke and the gauges shorting out just a little bit. The other big complaint for him, just losing rear grip all over the place. So when he comes in, he'll get those tires and they'll try and tighten them up.
Larson continues, going around some lap traffic. Here's what's going to be fun to watch. AJ gets those fresh tires. Regan, here he is.
Well, Adam, it was a reaction to the 10 car of AJ Allmendinger pitting. Immediately, the guys, the 17 car, Kyle Larson, jumped up on the wall, got ready to make their pit stop. They asked him a lap ago, how is the car? Give us an update. The update from the driver, the car is very good right now. Don't change anything. Josh?
Well, the 19 of Ty Gibbs, he's been saying that that car is really strong, his biggest complaint, and we saw it out there towards the end of that run, just getting way, way too free. So he's going to get those tires, get some fuel, and see if that helps him out, give him anything for the leaders, guys.
Top 3 into the stage, Larson, Allmendinger, and Gibbs. They've all made their pit stops. More stops happening now, Regan.
John Hunter Nemechek having a solid day right now. Problem with his car, though, it falls off a cliff after about 15 laps on the tires. No rear drive. He needs a lot of help with that.
It's all cycled through. Eric Almirola being scored as the race leader. Kligerman is now 2nd. And you can see where Larson and Allmendinger are in the map up top on those fresher tires. More green flag stops coming. We'll keep you side by side as we go.
Alrighty, so 32 laps to go. Now they'll head to a commercial break. As that goes on, we've got a couple things to get through here before we get to a break of our own. First, we'll end the poll for who you think will win today's race as we are at the end of Stage 2. 113 votes were casted. Appreciate everybody that did vote. Kyle Larson, most voted driver, 46% to win. No surprise. He is dominating this race so far. He was the favorite coming in and still looks to be the favorite in the late going. AJ Allmendinger with 30% of the votes ends up second there. Other with 19%. And Sheldon Creed had 4% of those 113 votes. So appreciate everybody that did vote there, and you guys will get to vote for the Cup race tomorrow in that chat once the stream gets uploaded onto YouTube. So appreciate that. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We've had consistently well over 100 people watching in this late Saturday night Xfinity Series commentary for this race, and we're at 74 likes right now. Make that 75, so definitely make sure that you hit the like button. We're 25 away from our goal. And, of course, as usual, at the end of Stage 2, we have our diecast showing. I don't think I've showed this diecast off yet, so I want to make sure I do so. And as a driver who ran in the Xfinity Series quite a bit after his Cup career maybe didn't go according to plan, especially in his later years when he left Robert Yates Racing. But this is Elliott Sadler. This is a 2000 and it's got the Winston Cup logo on it, so I believe it's a 2003 Ford Taurus. It is a pedigree paint scheme. It's got the golden retriever on the side of it. I always like the blue and the yellow paint schemes. I've always liked the pedigree paint schemes, even in the Kyle Busch years as well. But this is one of 2 Elliott Sadler diecasts I have. So I need to get an M&M's car, whether it's Sadler or Kyle Busch. Or I need to make sure I get an M&M's car at some point in time. I don't even have a Kyle Busch diecast yet. 124 scale, so I need to make sure I get on that at some point too. But yeah, here it is this week. Elliott Sadler diecast showing for this week. Xfinity race. He won quite a few Xfinity races at the end of his NASCAR / racing career. So Elliott Sadler it is. We'll take a quick break, and then you guys will get to listen into some of the coverage for the Xfinity Series race again on FS1. Yep, Elliott Sadler. Did I say Elliott Sadler? Thought I did. Apologize if I didn't. But yeah, 2003, Elliott Sadler. Hopefully you guys saw it as pretty nicely as well. I think you guys did.
Come out in a lot of traffic. Well, the cycle is pretty much already ended by the time the 28's going out, so I'd be curious to see what the delta is for him after probably 10 laps on tires to the rest of the guys that pitted first.
Yeah, the other thing is, it's got a green flag field. And so if you wait, longer to pit, you're going to be that much better late in the run. And everybody's in their fuel window. They've got another set of tires if they need them. But nothing saying that they're going to come and get them here unless we get a caution. And so with that, if you pit a little later, maybe late in the run, you get the payoff. On board with Ty Gibbs. He's fourth, and he is our Toyota top performer. Just went to fourth. John Hunter Nemechek after the cycle is 10th. Sammy Smith, who had spent some time up there in the top 2 through the cycle of stops, is being shown in the 13th position as we update our leaderboard.
Yeah, we heard John Hunter talk about his car. It runs really good for the first part of the run, and I think that's what we were noticing earlier when Ross ran into the back of him at the beginning of the race. His car was just so slow and had fallen off so much that nobody, Ross at that particular moment didn't expect him to slow down that much and just ran into the back of him, but it seems like it definitely does fall off a cliff.
Hemrick in the 11, 18 is Sammy Smith. Brett Moffitt waiting in the wings. All of this happening back around 16th on track. And as I look at our top 15 or so, there's only a couple of cars out there that are yet to make a pit stop. One of those, Daniel Suarez, who comes in with 28 to go. The other in that category, Ty Dillon, in the top 10 right now, but he too going to have to make a pit stop here pretty soon.
Yeah, and I think one thing that some of those guys were pitting is they're staying out to not pit and have the track position. If the caution did come out, probably be 50-50 on guys pitting, putting their last set of tires on. So I think that was probably a part of that staying out strategy as well.
Even if guys did pit, you'd have enough of a tire advantage to actually make a difference on a restart.
Well, you don't put a lot of cars a lap down ever at a road course. 29 cars on the lead lap right now. But gosh, we saw just how quickly, even through the cycle a minute ago when Larson pitted, how quickly he was able to rally back up through there. So you would anticipate if he comes to pit road later on under caution, the tires in that car would allow him to get back to the front. Larson has led more laps.
All right, so another commercial break. You're listening live to the DoorDash 250. I'll take you to the end of the race from here on out as far as the commentary goes. We're still cycling through green flag pit stops for the most part, but I should say for the most part, everybody has made their final pit stop. There are some drivers trying to run long, trying to gain track position in case some other drivers end up hitting pit road here before the end of the stage. I think Cole Custer and Riley Herbst maybe haven't pit yet, but they haven't made up a whole lot of ground. Actually, Custer, never mind, I think they did pit. So most of the field has pretty much hit pit road. 10.9 second lead following the green flag pit stops for Larson over Allmendinger, even though AJ pitted 1 to 2 laps before the 17 of Larson. It's been all Kyle Larson so far in this one, as we have just 27 laps left. And he is still quicker than AJ, despite any adjustments that might have been made to try to help the 10. He was really loose on the longer run. Ty Gibbs ran him down in the middle portion of the run, but couldn't pass him. And then AJ kind of slowly slipped away from Gibbs once Gibbs' tires started to fall off closer to those green flag stops. This will be the longest run on tires in today's race if we do go to the end green flag from here. Still, the only caution was for Josh Berry stalling out at lap 20, right at the end of stage 1. And no stage caution, obviously, in stage 2 here, so ran it out. We saw most of the field pit after the stage came to an end, especially those in the top 10 that were staying out to get those stage points as awarded when I named off who got the top 10. Larson has swept the stages though so far. He has led 46 laps and counting from the pole. And we've only had 5 different leaders in today's race. 9 lead changes with those 5 leaders, and most of them were pretty much based off of pit stops. We had that caution, obviously, which kind of reorganized the field a bit when Larson did win the race out of the pits during the first stop, but of course lost time because the top 4 had stayed out. And then obviously during that green flag pit stop cycle, we saw a couple different drivers lead for the first time today as well. An 11.7 second lead. Now Larson another 4/10 quicker than Allmendinger that last lap. Can he save his tires to the end of the race is the big thing. He's got a pretty decent sized lead. There are still 29 cars on the lead lap. This current green flag run that we are on right now is stretched about 30 laps, so it's still going to be quite a lengthy green flag run to make it to the finish, and it'll be interesting if they will be able to do that without any hiccups. We'll go through a full field running order rundown quickly. Kyle Larson leads this race. AJ Allmendinger is second. Ty Gibbs is third. Justin Allgaier fourth, and Austin Hill is in fifth. Eric Almirola in sixth. John Hunter Nemechek in seventh. Sam Mayer eighth. Riley Herbst ninth, and Parker Kligerman in 10th. Cole Custer in 11th. Chandler Smith in 12th. Sammy Smith in 13th. Sheldon Creed 14th, and Brett Moffitt is 15th. 16th is Daniel Hemrick. Ross Chastain 17th. Alex Obey 18th. Daniel Suarez 19th, and Brandon Jones is 20th. Sage Karam in 21st, 22nd is Josh Balicki, Kaz Gralla 23rd, 24th Kyle Weatherman, and Jeb Burton is 25th. Jeremy Clements in 26th, Dylan Lupton 27th, 28th is Ryan Sieg, and Ty Dillon's the last car in the lead lap at 29th. Jeffrey Earnhardt, first car lap down at 30th, Blaine Perkins 31st, Brad Perez 32nd, Connor Mosack 33rd. 34th place is Joe Graff Jr. Josh Berry is 35th, still in the race but 4 laps down after that mechanical issue earlier on. Anthony Alfredo 11 laps down at 36, not sure if he's still on track or not up to this point. Josh Williams, he ended up 13 laps down before they fixed whatever was wrong with the right front. If he's even on the track, he still could be in the garage area for all we know. But he scored 37th, and Parker Retzlaff 38th DNF'd earlier on in the race today. So tough break continues for Parker Retzlaff, who's had kind of a tough rookie season. He's had some shiny moments at times where he's had good speed, but just can't seem to finish off races, and failed to finish off yet another one here today. 24 laps to go now as Larson works his way back to the start-finish line. And, there's not really a whole lot to talk about with this race so far other than Larson has absolutely obliterated the field. He is putting everybody on lockdown tonight. Yeah, we haven't had to crank it up. We don't get them every week for the Xfinity. Well, we don't get them every week for the Cup Series anymore either. But the Xfinity Series, Cup Series, yeah. Hopefully we get it for the Cup race tomorrow with it being the last race. And if we do get a crank it up for the Xfinity Series, then you guys will get to listen into that before the end. How many die casts do I have? 43. I think I have 2 cases that each could fit 24. They're 8x3s, and I have like 5 spots open, and then I'll plan on setting 3 on the top of both of them. So I still have space before I have to get another one. I haven't got many die-casts this year. When I went to Talladega, I got a couple of them. I got the Mark Martin 2000 Valvoline die-cast, and then I got a Jimmy Johnson Darlington throwback scheme that I've shown in recent weeks on the channel from 2020 when he ran the Dale Sr. Richard Petty throwback scheme. The 7-time champ throwback scheme that only a 7-time champion like Jimmy Johnson would be able to pull off. So, main reason I got that one, I went to that race in person. It was my only trip to Darlington. To this point, I'd like to go back to Darlington sometime. It's a fun track, old school feel to the track, not just because of the throwback weekend itself, but just a lot of... I mean, it feels like a short track. That and Martinsville are the most old school feeling NASCAR tracks that I've been to. I haven't been to Richmond yet. I can't wait to go there at the end of next month. Hopefully it's not super hot. I would imagine it probably is. It's an afternoon race in Richmond, Virginia in July, so probably will be scorching, but gonna go to that one. Probably should have went to the spring race, but I knew I was going to Talladega this year, and they were running within a couple weeks of each other, so that's why I didn't go to the spring race, but I'll be at the fall one. Like the races I'll be at the rest of the year. I mentioned going to the Chicago street race in a couple weeks. Richmond, Michigan, with that being my home track. I only live like 45, 50 minutes away. And let's see here. Plan on going to the Bristol night race again. Chicago, by the way, Chicago for the street race, Xfinity Cup Series. I'll be there for both. I'm only going to Cup for Richmond and Michigan. I'll be at Truck, Xfinity, and Cup for Bristol. I want to go back to Phoenix again for the end of the year. That's kind of up in the air. I don't know about that one. And then Vegas and Texas, which will be Cup-only races that I'll be at. So that's kind of the schedule I'm looking at for the rest of the season. For races that I plan on attending. Race highlight videos from the grandstands for those races. So even though there's no live commentary schedule for those races, the weekends I'm only going to the Cup race, by the way. There will be live commentary streams. They just won't be for the Cup Series because they'll be at the track on Cup Day. But I plan on doing live commentary streams from my hotel or from here and then go, wherever I'm going for that said weekend. I'll try to schedule it out so I still get the Truck and Xfinity commentary for you guys. Means I can't get the race highlight videos. So I'll be on the grind for sure. I mean, I'm already on the grind every weekend anyway, but even more so with those travel weekends. Surprised Sheldon Creed hasn't quite shown the speed that he had last week at Portland. He qualified really well, but it seems like on the longer runs he's been falling off with the tire wear a lot more. Compared to the other drivers he is running around right now, Alex Abey was much quicker than him. Chandler Smith was much quicker that last lap by about 3 to 4 tenths of a second, and Creed sits at 14th place. So definitely not what I was expecting here tonight out of Creed. I thought he would probably be the favorite of the Xfinity regulars to compete. Really, Justin Allgaier's been that driver as he sits in 5th. Now, Eric Almirola, since the green flag pit stop cycled through, he was in 6th, but now has cycled ahead of Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier in on-track activity. So now the top 1 through 4 drivers are all Cup regulars. The only other Cup regulars in the field that aren't 1 through 4 would be Chastain in 18th, Daniel Suarez in 19th, and Ty Dillon in 29th, but they're all racing for some smaller organizations that don't typically have speed on a week-to-week basis in the Xfinity Series. We've seen Chastain run that 91 car many times this year, and I don't think he's had a top 10 with it yet, so now there he is on track right now. He did cause a slight controversy as he spun John Hunter Nemechek out in turn 11 in the very early going of this race. They were racing for 10th at the time, so it seems like during the long runs Chastain's kind of fallen off, especially with this epically long green flag run that we are on right now. We last went green, I believe, at lap 26, and we're at lap 59 right now, so about 33 to 34 laps of this green flag run, and we're down to 20 laps to go in the race as well. And we will see how this is going to end up panning out. FS1 on a full screen commercial break. And with 20 laps to go, we'll actually take our final commercial break of this race. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're at 77 likes. Our goal is 100, guys. Be sure to hit that like button. We need to get to 100 before the end of the stream. And we're down to 20 to go. So appreciate it as always. And again, this is our final break. We'll take it to the finish. Other shout-outs here recently, Weather Expert Gaming, NASCAR Vintage 17. Thanks for tuning in. Jeff Curry, welcome. 1 year went to 3 races in a row, Kansas, Dega, Charlotte, fun times. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The most I went to was technically 4 Cup races in a row. It was 2021. And it looks like we're actually under caution during this commercial break, so that is going to be interesting. Caution flags out for just a second time today during the commercial with 19 to go. Not sure what it is for yet. But once they come back from break, we will have that. Quickly though, yeah, so 2021, I went to, I gotta remember the exact order here. I went to Nashville. came back from Nashville. And by the way, I still work during the week. This is with the YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch the race highlight videos for all these races. But went to Nashville for the Cup race. Came back, worked a full... I think I would have only worked like maybe 20 hours that week, because then I went to Pocono on Friday night after work, nonetheless. So yeah, I did work 30 hours. So I worked 30. I worked a full 10-hour shift and then left, drove 6.5 hours to Pocono. It was about a 7-hour drive to Nashville and back. Stayed there for Saturday, Sunday for the truck race, the Cup race, the Xfinity Sunday before the Cup race, because they ran the doubleheader that weekend. It's the only weekend they ran the doubleheader, so that's why I wanted to go to Pocono. And then I went to Road America, which was about a 6 to 6.5 hour drive for me as well, the following weekend after that, which was nuts. I did drive to all of them, and I was still working like 30 plus hours during the week at work. So I was exhausted. I didn't take any vacation time for that. And I don't think I'll ever do that again. So it was cool when it happened, at least not like that. You know, maybe if I'm covering the races, you know, in person, commentating races on TV maybe down the road, that's one thing. But I also wouldn't be working like a physical labor job during the week on top of it. So it was exhausting. By the end of that Road America trip, I was driving home and I was pretty beat. And I still had to go back into work that like next Tuesday, because I think I was driving home the Monday after the 4th. And yeah, it was fun, and a lot of good races in that stretch too. But man, I don't know if I'll ever quite do that again. I've spaced them out last year, and I've kind of spaced them out so far this year. Most of the races I'm going to this year are kind of like in the late summer, early fall. Last year, most of the races I went to were in the spring, and then. Was in the fall last year, most of the races I went to, and then in the spring the year before, into like June, through those 4 races. Yeah, they're all like 6 to 7 hour drives, so that's why it was doable for me. You know, they weren't like 10, 12 plus hour drives. Man, oh man. Hoping Nashville will be day race, only 4 hours south of Nashville. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's definitely a drivable distance. Is that Road America? Yeah, it was 2021. I had to think about that again, even though I just said it. They are under caution. The 45 car did spin. It looked like in turn 10. Backed it into the outside wall. Might have left some debris, which has caused the caution flag. The free pass was given to the 39 car of Ryan Sieg, so we'll have 28 cars back on the lead lap. We might see some take the wave around as well. And this may end up having some pit stops. I've seen quite a bit of fall off already, just over a second of fall off during the right around 10 lap green flag run we had on the current set of tires. Overall, though, that green flag run ended up lasting over 35 laps. Definitely the longest green flag run of the race. We're going to set up a restart late. And it's going to be a Kyle Larson versus AJ Allmendinger show. If they win the races off pit road will be open this time. We'll see who comes down, who does not. I would imagine most of the leaders will be in. And for anybody pitting with it being a road course, you can pretty much guarantee they're going to take 4 tires. Larson's going to pit. AJ stays out. So doing opposite of the leader, that's going to be interesting.
Tires. Pit stops under caution. They happen with 18 laps to go, Regan.
Well, it's been the same story all
My
day
bad,
long for
AJ
the 17
pitted.
car. Kyle
I lied,
Larson,
AJ
the balance
pitted.
is good. Told
I thought he
crew chief
stayed
Kevin
out.
Mendering that it has stayed the exact same all day long. Doesn't want any changes to his car. And the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek fighting that rear grip earlier on. Right now, it's been good this run. Held on better, but it still goes away just a little too much for him. Josh?
Over the 19 of Ty Gibbs, they decided they're happy with that car. And moving on to the 10 of AJ Allmendinger, he said this caution fell right at a window they didn't like, but either way, they decided they're going to come and get tires and fuel, no adjustments for the 10.
Now the race off pit road, and with that huge advantage that Larson had over everybody, you just say, take your time, don't make any mistakes, right? Larson wins the race off.
Yep, Kyle Larson easily wins the race out of the pits. AJ Allmendinger second. Eric Almirola, Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, John Hunter Nemechek all up 1 spot. Ty Gibbs lost 4 spots on pit road. Biggest loser of that had pitted. That was in the top 10 at the prior caution. So 17 to go right now. We'll probably restart with about 15 laps to go if I had to guess. And we'll have a little bit of a shootout here to the end of this race between AJ Allmendinger and Kyle Larson. Not sure if anybody had stayed out of the pits to try to gain track position. If they did, that could definitely be huge for AJ. I think that'd probably be better for him, even though Larson's gotten through traffic much quicker than him on restarts so far, which has kind of been the detriment to Allmendinger, because by the time he gets up to second, he's at least 3.5, if not more, seconds off the race lead. He doesn't really have anything for Larson when he gets that far away, but if he could stay close to him and maybe even beat him through traffic and force Kyle to maybe have to pass the 10 of Allmendinger can, just put pressure on Kyle Larson, because there's been no pressure on that 17 car all day long. That could be the one way Larson could get beat here in the late going. Me having money on Kyle Larson to win, I don't want him to get beat, but I'm just saying that could be one way that it could end up happening. Hingo, thanks for tuning into the stream also. Robert Gerletley, thanks for tuning in. Worked at New Hampshire International Speedway. Actually got to speak with Dale Earnhardt. Awesome, man. That'd be cool working at a NASCAR track for NASCAR race weekend. Do you get to, when you work at the track like that, are you actually working throughout the course of the full race, or are you able to watch the race as well? Like, yeah, you can watch on the TVs outside the track, but it's not the same. Like, if you're stuck in a concession stand, to me, being a diehard racing fan, that would suck. A lot of the people that do that, though, are most of the time they're like younger, like just out of high school or college students, whatever, is picking up like a random work for that weekend or whatever at the track, volunteer work. They probably don't even know anything about racing at that point. Now, Suarez is in a Chevy Alliance. And Larson is still leading, waiting for our leaderboard to organize. So a reminder, this is the last NASCAR race on Fox for the Xfinity and the Cup Series season. The trucks will still be on FS1 throughout the course of the rest of the season. But NBC USA Network, once they come back from the off week next week for the Xfinity and the Cup Series. So again, USA Network and NBC will be the two channels that they will air races for both of those series the rest of the season. Up to 80 likes, by the way. We need to get to 100 before the end of the stream. We got about 130 people watching. We're setting up for a late race restart with about 15 laps to go. I'm sure they'll get to the choose rule on the back half of this pace lap, and then we will go green next time by. But again, we need to get to 100 likes here before the end of this race. So about 19 away right now with 15 to go on the restart. Yeah, we didn't really look at the point standings coming into the day today. Usually do that in the pre-race. Obviously, it's a condensed version for the Xfinity and the Truck Series. They don't go live for pre-race predictions beforehand. Especially the rotating field with Cup guys moving in. It's kind of hard to tell. Xfinity regulars, a lot of them haven't been there very long, so there's not a huge sample size. But anyway, coming into the race weekend, despite the woes last week for John Nemechek on track, he still got a top 10 and has a 14-point lead over Austin Hill. He outscored him in the stages as well. So a 14-point lead in the regular season standings for Nemechek over Hill. Hill, I believe, did score more stage points than Nemechek today, though. So might close that gap, and right now on track, they're 8th and 9th for this ensuing restart. Justin Allgaier, who has been hot recently, almost won back-to-back races, did win at Charlotte, though, for his first time this season. He's 44 points out of first. The drivers who are locked into the playoffs with wins, Nemechek, Hill, Allgaier, Custer, both the Smiths of Chandler Smith and Sammy Smith, and Jeb Burton with a win at Talladega locked in. So we are sitting at 7 different winners, 12 drivers qualified for the Xfinity Series playoff field, 26 races, and we were halfway through the regular season coming in today, so we'll still have 12 races left. So there's a chance that we could see 5 different winners, and may not have points locking anybody in. Josh Berry, the highest of those drivers on points without a win coming in. He's plus 112. Closer to that cutoff line, though. Daniel Hemrick is the last driver in on points, plus 14 into the day. Brandon Jones, minus 14. And Hemrick was in the top 10 early, kind of fell out of it now. He'll be 18th on the restart. Brandon Jones just behind him in 20th. Pace car pulling off. 15 to go in the restart. Couple drivers stayed out of the pits, Alex Labbe and Daniel Suarez, so Larson and Allmendinger will be in row 2, stacked in line behind him. In fact, actually, Almirola to the outside of Larson, Allmendinger behind the 17 on the inside, green flag back in the air. Aerial shot into turn 1, Larson getting held up behind Labbe in the 29. Daniel Suarez slides the rear tires. He's clear off the exit of the corner. Larson gets pinched 4 wide as they work their way off the carousel. Allmendinger and Larson are still side by side as they bang fenders into the next couple corners. Larson gets wedged into the 07 of Suarez, and Allmendinger gets out ahead of the 17. For the first time today, AJ Allmendinger has passed Kyle Larson. It was on a restart. A lot of cars fading out wide now as they're 3 wide still from turn 6 to turn 7. 4 wide down into the hairpin, and more contact between Nemechek, Kligerman. More cars further back making contact. One car clips the grass through the curbing into the S's. That was Nemechek. Bounces into the 00 of Cole Custer. Custer's got his nose caved in, which is not going to help him. May have a hole in the radiator after running into the back of somebody when everybody got bottlenecked up in those first couple corners. Almirola out in front of the field. Somehow was the first driver to get through on 4 fresh tires, then Allmendinger, then Larson. And we're down to 14 to go as Eric Almirola leads late. First time he has led today. Larson to the inside of Allmendinger. They make contact. AJ nearly squeezed the 17 car into the turn 12 wall as they were getting onto the front stretch. Larson all over the back of AJ again, trying to work him over in the carousel. Kyle's been much quicker than any driver today, but if there's one that could beat him, it's AJ. The longer they abuse their tires, the more it can allow Almirola to pull away at the front of the field. Great lane choice by the 10 going to the outside. Allmendinger into the next corner. Larson all over him. The 10 has absolutely used the 17 up the last couple corners. Larson going to dive bomb into turn 7. Makes a clean pass on AJ. AJ trying to work him over with the crossover, but he's not going to be able to do it. Larson is up to second place and now trying to get after the 10 car. A lot of battling for position still going on behind him in the top 10 as well. Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed run nose to tail with John Hunter Nemechek right there. 10th, 11th, to 12th place on screen. Larson quickly about 2 car lengths ahead of AJ into the high braking zone in turn 11. Ty Gibbs going to pull out, trying to make a pass late into the corner on Austin Hill. And I do not believe he was able to make the pass. Oh, Brandon Jones actually got turned around in the S's on the restart. I couldn't tell who got into him. It might have been Jeb Burton in the 27. It was tough to tell for sure, but Brandon Jones ended up spinning on the restart. He was in 20th initially, and now he is back in 29th. Of course, there weren't that many more cars in the lead lap behind him, so he didn't lose a lot of positions, but definitely enough. And we mentioned that playoff bubble just moments ago prior to the restart. That Hemrick was 14 points ahead of Jones for that last spot. Hemrick gained 4 positions from 18th to 14th on the restart. And Brandon Jones falls from 20th to 29th, so that's a 15-point swing. 13-point swing, and on top of the 14 points already, plus the stage points Hemrick had. Jones has 0 stage points today, so it's an uphill climb for sure for Brandon Jones. Leaving Sonoma today, road course is maybe not his strong suit. We got a lot of them still to go this regular season, and especially in recent weeks for the Xfinity Series. They go to Chicago on the street course in a couple weeks. I think the week or 2 after that, they go to Road America. Of course, Indianapolis road course still on the schedule this year, and Watkins Glen in August. So you got 4 road course races within the next month and a half to 2 months. After this one, this is the 3rd of the year for the Xfinity Series. Again, Portland last week, and then ran at Coda back in March. Justin Allgaier getting past Austin Hill through turn 2. Parker Kligerman showing his road course prowess over recent races. Finished 14th last weekend, but ran top 5 all day. Had a shot to win on that final race start. Drove it in way too deep into turn 1 in that Portland race, costing him a shot at the win. The front of the field, Almirola is still out in front, but Larson has ran him down. He was about a second and a half behind Almirola once he initially got by the 10. Now, Eric's got clean air, but we'll see. Larson needs to get around him as quickly as possible for AJ has a chance to get back to the 17 car before he can pass the 28 of Almirola. Kligerman picks up that spot on Hill. That would be for 6th. Trying not to let Allgaier get too far out ahead of him. Down to 11 laps to go at the start-finish line this time by. A wider entry this time for Larson and AJ versus the 28 car of Almirola, who has a flatter entry to turn 11. Ty Gibbs is back there quietly in 4th, about 2.8 seconds behind everybody else. And about 4.3 seconds off the race lead. Definitely see Larson's finessing the corners a lot more than Almirola. It just seems like he takes a wider angle on entry, which helps him get a better exit. He's able to pick up the throttle sooner. Almirola's kind of flatlining and straightlining the corners and not able to run quite as quick of lap times. Last lap, Larson was only 0.2 quicker than Eric. First time we've seen the 28 car out in front, though. Almirola not really known for being a road course racer in the NASCAR Cup Series. In fact, he's actually one of the worst. Like him, Austin Dillon, and Bubba Wallace, like year after year, those 3 guys on road courses tend to not run particularly well. Now, I'll give Bubba a little bit of the slack, cut him a little bit of slack, because he did finish top 10 at COTA this year. I think he finished top 10 in the last 2 or 3 road course races last year, so he's slowly turning it around. I can't really say the same for Austin Dillon or Eric Almirola, though. But Eric with a solid run. He's been in the top 5 most of the day, and he's leading with 10 laps to go. Larson closing in quicker that last lap. He's a car length behind him at the start-finish line. AJ Allmendinger still about 1.6 seconds off the race lead behind the 28. And he's going to need the 17 and the 28 to battle pretty harshly here for this race lead. Right front fender crinkled on the 17 of Larson. How hard is the 17 potentially pushing when he was battling the 10 and now battling the 28? That when he gets ahead, is he going to be able to pull away like he was able to earlier, especially with the contact he made in a couple of consecutive corners with Allmendinger? Eric's doing a great job holding a steady wheel right now. Down the hill, through the S's. That last lap, Larson was about another 10th quicker than Almirola, but it'll be interesting this next lap at the start-finish line. Who's going to have the quicker lap? Because up to this point, through the first 10 corners, it seems to be the 28 of Almirola. Larson a bit wide off turn 10. Wider entry again as they work their way into turn 11. And a much better drive off for the 10, well, driver of the 10 in the Cup Series, I should say, but the 28 today in the Xfinity race of Eric Almirola. 9 laps to go, and Almirola was a bit quicker than Larson that last lap. About 0.2 quicker. Larson in the dirty air, though, as he has gotten closer behind the 28. Allmendinger did fall back a little bit, though. He was the slowest of those top 3. The last time by, Ty Gibbs not catching up into the fray as well. He was a 10th slower than the race leader. He's now 5 seconds off the lead as well, and he's got a 3.7 second distance between himself and Allgaier back at 5th. So again, quickly, your top 5 with 9 laps to go in the race. Eric Almirola leads. Kyle Larson is 2nd. AJ Allmendinger 3rd. Ty Gibbs 4th. And Justin Allgaier is in 5th. Almirola Not as steady of a wheel off turn 10 this time. Larson a lot harder into the braking zone in turn 11. Bumps the 28 of Almirola, but he can't get underneath him. Now he does. Side by side for the race lead. Big block by Almirola, and Larson might have cut him a little bit of slack after getting into the back of him a corner before. 8 laps to go at the line. Almirola is hanging on for dear life in front of Kyle Larson. Up the hill into the carousel, but this is what AJ needs. He needs him to trade paint. Allmendinger was able to close in about 2/10 through those last couple corners alone because of the contact between the top two in front of him. And the more pressure he puts on Almirola, you'd imagine the slower the 28's going to go, the slower he goes. If the 17 can't pass, then the 17 will get held up. And AJ was already ruffling up the 17 of Larson when they were battling for P2 on the restart. You would imagine that they'll probably do the same here. Through turn 7, Larson rounds it off the curb. Race back to the gas and through the gears, won again by Almirola. Larson not able to get by the 10, or the 28. Sorry, I keep saying the 10 because Almirola drives the 10 in the Cup Series, but the 10 of Allmendinger is trying to close from third. And we'll have 7 to go this time by. Larson's still got time, but he is slowly running out of laps. Oh, he missed it. He missed it. He wheel hopped turn 11. AJ Allmendinger's now up to second, and Eric Almirola's got about a 2-second lead. Larson drove it in way too deep into turn 11, wheel hopped it. Went way wide, did a great job not spinning, but ended up losing second place to AJ Allmendinger. Now Allmendinger's in the driver's seat trying to catch Eric Almirola for the win. Right in the center of the corner is where he went wide. Definitely drove it in a lot deeper. And it was actually because he undercut the corner just a slight bit. He hit the tire on the inside of the corner, which kind of launched the car a little bit wide, even in a slower corner like that. And now Kyle Larson has to get back by Allmendinger to catch back up to the 28 of Almirola. Larson had an 11-second lead when the caution flag came out with about 19 laps to go after the 45 car had spun off turn 10 and backed it into the outside wall. Now he is back in third place again with just 6 laps to go this time by, and Eric Almirola trying to get his first win on a road course in any of the top 3 series in NASCAR. Who would have thought Almirola would have a shot to win this thing? Trying to beat the Dinger and Larson on a road course? That is an SHR prepared race car as well. And this is the first Xfinity start for Almirola this year. It was the first Xfinity start for both Larson and Allmendinger where they won this season. And now Almirola trying to be the 3rd Cup regular to win an Xfinity race this year. That last lap, he was a tenth slower than AJ Allmendinger, though. And the best thing for Kyle Larson is he needs to hope that the 10 car can get to the 28, because that's his only real shot of trying to get back into this race. Battle for 5th place continues. Kligerman has caught Justin Allgaier. They're 10 seconds off the race lead. They got a pack of cars battling for position back behind them where Austin Hill, Cole Custer, Sammy Smith, and Sam Mayer are. Those 4 drivers all within a second of each other. 7th through 10th. And Sheldon Creed a bigger gap back between him and Mayer. Just outside the top 10 and 11th place is Creed. Closest battle on track right now, though, in the top 10 is definitely that battle for position. And now Kligerman locks the brakes up going into turn number 11. Definitely costing him some time. They'll hang on. Austin Hill going to close in behind the 48 car. Parker Kligerman did a great job keeping it off the 7 car, though, but smoked the tires quite a bit. Really, all 4 tires got locked up. And that's going to burn the tires off the race car, which is going to make it harder for him to run very good lap times. Now Larson's 2.5 seconds off the race lead. That last lap, AJ Allmendinger was 0.3 slower than Eric Almirola, so it's allowed Larson to catch AJ for second. And Larson has the speed to get around those guys. I mean, Larson was 1/10 quicker than Almirola that last lap, 0.4 quicker than AJ. It took him an extremely long time to get by Allmendinger on that last restart, probably 2 to 3 laps. If it takes him that long now, he's not going to catch Almirola. Might be a Cup regular in an Xfinity race, but this could be an upset win considering the 2 drivers running behind him at this style of racetrack. Really 3. I mean, Gibbs was amazing in the Xfinity Series last year on road courses too, and he's in 4th. Last lap, AJ picked up. He was 0.2 quicker than Almirola. 4 laps to go. Larson ran a similar lap time to that of Eric Almirola that last lap. But AJ was the quickest of the 3. The thing is, if Larson battles the 10, if Larson battles the 10, neither one's going to catch the 28. And I think Larson's best chance here is to either pass Allmendinger quickly. It looks like AJ's going to blow turn 7. He's going to undercut the corner. What a crossover by AJ Allmendinger. I thought he blew the corner, but he had such a late crossover move that he was able to cleanly get back by the 17 car of Kyle Larson. After Larson dove it really deep getting into turn 7. But that's the battling for second that Almirola needs to see. Because now he's got a 2.9 second lead. That transition of passes there through those couple of corners allowed for the 28 to get away even further. This is unbelievable. 3 to go at the line. Yeah, you're thinking of Ambrose in the chat, by the way, Jeff. Easy E Network, thanks for tuning in. Unbelievable finish here. By the way, we're 9 likes away from 100. We've got 163 plus watching right now. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. You're listening live to the DoorDash 250 at Sonoma for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Pick Larson to win. Why did that caution have to come out? Larson going for second again in turn 7. Underneath AJ. Can't get to him. AJ a lot deeper into the corner. He didn't even want a chance for the 17 to pass him that time. They're battling so hard for second, they're just losing time to Almirola. The big thing now for Eric is that he has to hope this stays green to the checkered flag. He's more than 3 seconds ahead, and we're coming up on 2 to go this time by. If Almirola catches the white flag, then the next flag will end the race, whether it's the yellow or the checker. Larson lost a lot of time through the S's on Allmendinger rather than that last lap. The big mistake was hitting the inside of those tires, trying to catch Almirola when Larson was all over the back of the 10. He overdrove it. The 10 car got away. Then the 17 and the 10 started to battle each other for second. So much so that Eric Almirola has pulled away. He was about a half a second slower that last lap, but I think he may have backed it off a little bit, not trying to make a mistake. Might be a little too early to back off quite that much, but we'll see. 2.8 seconds back. AJ stretched that gap out over Larson as well. After Larson didn't get out of the SS very well the lap before, AJ's got about a 3 to 4 car length gap now in the 17. And we will be coming up on the white flag this time by. Through 10. Into 11 is Eric Almirola. What a win this could be. It's been an abysmal Cup season, really the last year and a half or so for Eric Almirola. Dropping down into this one-off Xfinity start. in an SHR prepared Xfinity car. This could be back-to-back wins for SHR on road courses, with Cole Custer winning at Portland last week and Almirola taking the white flag and hopefully the checkered flag this week at Sonoma. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. A 2.5 second lead for the 28 car of Eric Almirola. Allmendinger and Larson continue to battle for second, but Larson's about a half a second, if not just more than that, behind the 10. As they work their way off of 4A into the chute. Crazy restart that allowed Almirola to get to the lead. He never made a mistake when Larson pressured him for about 5 or 6 consecutive laps. It was Larson who made the mistake. And the 3-time NASCAR Cup Series race winner outclasses the over 20-time Cup Series race winner and former NASCAR champ. What a drive by Almirola. Steady wheel late. He was pressured. He got to the lead on the restart. Even though Larson had the dominant car of the day, Almirola deserved this one, fending off for a numerous amount of laps, not just like 2 laps on a late race restart. He had to fend him off for 15 laps. Checkered flag waves. Eric Almirola wins the Xfinity Series DoorDash 250 at Sonoma. EJ Allmendinger ends up second, Kyle Larson third, Ty Gibbs fourth, and Parker Kligerman will round out the top 5. Cole Custer will end up 6th, Justin Allgaier 7th, Austin Hill 8th, Sammy Smith 9th, and Sam Mayer rounds out the top 10. Sheldon Creed finishes 11th. 12th place was Brett Moffitt, Daniel Hemrick 13th, Chandler Smith 14th, and Riley Herbst 15th. 16th, John Hunter Nemechek, Jeremy Clement 17th, Ross Chastain 18th, Josh Bilicki 19th, Kaz Gralla 20th, Brandon Jones 21st, Kyle Weatherman 22nd, Ty Dillon 23rd, 24th was Dylan Lupton, and Alex Abay fell back to 25th on that last restart on all those older tires. Jeb Burton in 26th, Ryan Sieg 27th, Brad Perez 28th, Daniel Suarez 29th, Blaine Perkins 30th. Joe Graff Jr. was the last car on the lead lap, finishing 31st. Connor Mosack 2 laps down, finishes 32nd. Josh Berry 4 laps down at 33rd. Sage Karam 34th, 8 laps down. Josh Williams DNF'd, finishes 35th. Everybody else behind him DNF'd. Jeffrey Earnhardt finishes 36th. Anthony Alfredo 37th. And Parker Retzlaff rounds out the 38 car field. You get to hear from Eric Almirola and some of your other top finishers here over the next couple of minutes in our brief post-race show. Tune in tomorrow for our NASCAR Cup Series coverage of the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma. That live commentary stream will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Total time of today's race through 79 laps, 250 miles, 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 27 seconds. Average race speed of 75.41 miles per hour. 2 cautions today, both for instant. Again, no stage cautions this weekend. 8 car of Josh Berry stalled on track at lap 20, and at lap 60, the incident in turn 10 involving the 45 car backing it into the outside wall was set up the restart that allowed for Eric Almirola to get ahead of everyone and hold off Larson and Allmendinger in those last 15 laps. And what was really overall a pretty thrilling finish to what was kind of an anticlimactic race in the middle going. Only 17 laps led for Almirola. It was the most important 17. Well, most important 15, plus the 2 laps he led during green flag pit cycling earlier. Sure hasn't forgotten to do a burnout as he's doing there on the front stretch. I don't think he could have ever imagined winning on a road course in NASCAR, especially this late in his career. Unbelievable job by Eric Almirola today. Larson leads the most laps with 54 laps led. 3 different times he led most of any other driver. Won the first 2 stages, led the most laps, started the pole. He led all but 25 laps today, but he did not lead any one of those final 15 following that late race start. In total, we had 6 different leaders and 13 lead changes with them. Here is Almirola celebrating his victory in the front stretch.
Davis Cup crew chief Drew Blickensderfer were on Race Hub with us this week. Got to see the bond that they share and how they support one another. Neat to see a celebration this afternoon here at Sonoma. It's Eric Almirola pulls the upset and wins the DoorDash 250 down to Josh.
Eric Almirola, you told me earlier today that you love racing at Sonoma. That's why you jumped at the opportunity to do this double dip. When you get the win, you hold off AJ Allmendinger, you hold off Kyle Larson. What does this win mean to you and this team?
Oh man, this is so special. It's hard to explain. I know it's an Xfinity win. It's not a cup win, but after COTA, I told Davin and Drew, I was like, man, I really don't think I should run any more road course races in the Xfinity car. It makes me look like a wanker, and I lose self-confidence going into Sunday. But I knew that this racetrack, this is one that I can run good at. I've run good here my whole career. I don't know what it is about this place, but I love racing here. Just so thankful to everybody on this race team, everybody at SHR in the Xfinity shop. They take on a lot to not only bring their 2 cars to the racetrack, but to prepare a 3rd car. So thankful to Mike with Michael Roberts Construction to come on. Without him and Largo Concrete, we don't get to run this race. Thankful to Ford, everybody that makes this deal work. All of our partners, Shady Rays, Pit Boss Grills, First Form, everybody that makes this thing go round. It's been a really tough year on the Cup side, and to come out here and get a win and get to celebrate. My kids came out. We're going to spend the week in California for our off week, and they're going to get to go to Victory Lane. So that is so special. The pictures we have at home with our family in Victory Lane mean the most to me. So excited to share this Victory Lane here. Also Camus, we had a great dinner last night and drank a little bit of Camus wine last night with our team, and this is their hometown. So man, this is awesome. I can't wait to get to Victory Lane.
Congrats, Eric.
Well, Kyle Larson, extremely fast race car all weekend long. Unfortunately, come home in the 3rd position today. Turn 11, we saw you get into the tire barrier down there. What took place?
Yeah, I just got too greedy. If you can get your rights below the rumbles into the paint, it's a lot of grip, and I got it good a couple times, and then I was just kind of tucked up right behind him and clipped the tire and knocked the wheel out of my hand, and then after that the toe was off, so I was really tight in the lefts and then really loose in the rights, so couldn't make runs at it. So just hate it for Kevin Mindring and everybody. They deserve a win so bad with this 17 car, and between all of us, we've all found a way to lose. So just really mad at myself right now, but proud of the car that they brought, and congrats to Eric too. He did a really good job out in front of me, hitting his marks, and he could kind of get away from me in a couple important areas, and it would make me have to work hard behind him. So hats off to him, that team, and just bummed and mad at myself.
Thanks, Scott.
Next time we see the 17 car Watkins Glen with Alex Bowman later this year, Larson drives it at Darlington. Larson 3rd today.
Alrighty, that is going to wrap up today's Xfinity Series coverage of the DoorDash 250 at Sonoma. Your race winner, Eric Almirola, by 1.8 seconds over AJ Allmendinger after fending off both Allmendinger and Larson on a late race restart with 15 laps to go. He beat the 2 that dominated him throughout the course of the day, but Eric got up to about the 3rd or 4th fastest car at the end, and when he had the clean air, he didn't make a mistake, didn't allow for Larson to pass him. Larson made the mistake, lost ground, and nobody could catch back up to him there in those final 6 to 7 laps. Congrats for Eric getting his first Xfinity win this season in his second Xfinity start. I guess he ran a COTA earlier this year as well. I didn't really remember that, but he did run there, as he stated in his post-race interview, and solid win. Eric Almirola wins on a road course. I don't care what series it is. Who would have ever predicted that? Great job, though, for him finally capturing that feat. We will be back again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for our NASCAR Cup Series live commentary coverage. Be sure to tune in for that one. And that is going to wrap up today's live commentary stream. Appreciate it, everybody. We hit our goal of 100 likes. We're at 101 right now. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so already, or at the end of this stream, but we did get our goal. And also subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Again, 70% of viewers on the channel in the last 28 days are not subscribed, so definitely hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, and hopefully we can get there sooner rather than later. Appreciate it, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow, and thanks for watching our Xfinity Series coverage from Sonoma.